I'll be passing them on.
That's why they're
On the back.
That's mine.
When Corey's gonna be breaking in tomorrow. He said, no, I went after you.
What on these ones?
I did. I think the next
Should be good now.
There you go. If you don't care, give these agendas for tonight.
Damn. You got
I think this is mine. I gave Mike one already. And I gave Corey one already.
Get all phones there. Yeah,
They'll tell me what's on.
You'll figure it out.
They'll tell me, yeah. It's fine.
You're hungry, are you?
Yeah, well, you know, I like to bring a snack. And I'm always thirsty.
I'm kind of sure she's not doing that blackness. Composure.
it's hard to do what I said.
Whoever's got folks at home, take a whole box of cookies. Cause I can't take, I don't need to be taking that many home with me.
I'm taking my kids up on all them things.
What's saving you in the morning and then send them to school?
They'll never make, they'll sneak out in the middle of the night. I put good in this one place, I got 2 or 3.
Y'all don't see a cow or what it is?
Here you want this one?
Yeah, we got it. Go ahead and call the meeting to order. Welcome everyone. Tonight, the last regularly scheduled meeting of the year. Doesn't mean we won't have a special call, but, right, Corey? Anyway, December 16th, 7 o'clock, a little after. Glad everyone's here tonight. Those who would like to pray, Mike, if you would, open for a word of prayer, and then we'll have a place and flag.
Lord, thank you for this day that you've given us, an opportunity to gather in here and discuss the county's business. And Lord, as another year comes to a close, I know there's been a lot of challenges, but I appreciate you giving us the wisdom to face those challenges and move forward. And thank you so much for the blessings that you've bestowed upon this county. And as we go into the holiday season, Lord, we just pray for those that are sick or homeless or less fortunate. And Lord, we just ask that blessings pour out on them and bring them back to health or give them whatever they need to help them to feel whole. And Lord, with what's going on in Madison, Wisconsin today, please be with all of those involved in that. That is a horrible, horrible thing. Lord, just ask that your presence be felt all over Madison and with all of those families, and you be with them and guide them and comfort them in their time of need. Lord, be with us tonight. Give us guidance, give us wisdom, and help us to make decisions to be pleasing and acceptable in your sight. In Jesus' name we pray, amen.
Amen. If you would, join us in salute that flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, everyone. Madam Clerk, if you would, call the roll, please.
Squire Stump.
Here.
Squire Harris.
Here.
Squire Eldridge.
Here.
Judge Travis.
Here.
Squire Travis.
Here.
Squire Cox.
Here. All right, we're all here. Thank you all for that. The first item on the agenda is approval of the minutes of 12/2/24. One The only change I have on page 4, the whole paragraph in the middle there, where it says "the judge," and then ends all the way down there where it says "pretty simple." Just strike all that out. It's all commentary. And anyway, that would nearly take a page out of the minutes. I didn't have anything else to suggest other than that for these minutes.
Motion to approve the December 2nd meeting, minutes, recommended changes.
Second.
All right, we have a motion by Zach, seconded by Mike, to approve the minutes of 12/2/24 with the changes mentioned. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion passes. Next, on page 26 through 65. Look, I don't even have this book up, buddy. 3 minutes. Page 26 through 65 is the special call meeting. On page 26. And I didn't see anything to change there. It mentions, you know, we did all the work on the, well, we actually did 4 things. We discussed the propane price, and we talked about the backhoe, and then we did zoning changes.
Motion to approve the December 5th minutes.
Is there a second?
Second.
All right, we have a motion by Zach, seconded by Dan, to approve the minutes from December the 5th, the special call meeting. Any discussion? All right, hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion passes. Under my communications, the meeting dates, and I think I did not bring that over here, what Brittany printed for me. That's my bad. But basically, I want to do an executive order setting the meeting dates, and they will be the first Mondays at 9 a.m. and the third Mondays at 7 p.m. unless it's a holiday. And then I think the Monday meeting would be on Wednesday morning, and then the Tuesday meeting would be on, is it Wednesday night? Or no, I'm sorry, the Monday night meeting would be on, it's Tuesday night or Wednesday night, y'all remember?
Tuesday night, Wednesday morning, there's thing that calls the court. Well, it has been in the past.
Okay, well, whatever it was last year, it's the same dates. So I we'll move to set those dates right now. It's on page 66, it tells there how we're supposed to set the meeting dates. So,
Second.
yeah, I can do it by executive order. So, we'll set those dates. All right, so, all right, thank you. Page 67, we had, I put this in, we needed to replace a computer at the election storage. We don't necessarily have to vote on this, but we did get, I think we got that lined out. Lynn, is it working pretty good now?
Yes, sir.
All right, good deal. So we don't have to take any action. Number 3, the Old Hetty Bridge, DLG, we've got a hearing set, and someone from Spencer County says should be present at this hearing, and we will have someone at that meeting Tuesday, January the 7th. And that's to do with the Old Hetty Bridge. The details are on page 68 and 69. So that's all that I have on my communications. Does any master have anything you'd like to bring up right now? Keep rolling. All right, are there any citizens that would like to speak tonight? All right, we're good with that. We've got several different folks in the crowd, and not to keep folks all night, Catherine, I'll call on you first. I
Fantastic.
know you're down under new business, but we have the tourism ordinance second reading. It's on page 92.
I just need to pull that up myself.
Yep. So basically, if you guys remember, it was making the changes of course, what's underlined, and I guess the city would have to meet also, correct?
They have done and they have passed it. They're
Okay.
just waiting for us. I do have a question now because, tourism is I think we're bumping into each other in our processes on how to do an ordinance, because we just don't know. Looking at the draft, it says that we need to run this in Spencer Magnet, and I do not know if that is me who does that. Is that part of the county process? Is that
I think we run them after they're passed,
after they're passed, you know?
I believe so.
Well, then we are still going in the right, well, that is fantastic. Okay, thank you.
So, see, we had the first reading, and then we'll have the second reading, and then I know it'll be in the paper, I believe that's correct.
Okay,
So,
and I'll need to set that up, right?
just be in contact with us,
Okay.
we can set it up, but
That would
be
lovely.
in touch with us.
I will, great, that's
All right.
fantastic.
So, but anyhow, tonight we have ordinance, number 16, 2025 series. Ordinance to amend the Taylorville Spencer County Recreation Tourism Convention Commission ordinances. Adopted jointly by the city commission and Spencer County Fiscal Court. And you can see that we struck and then added some words, and basically it gets it to where it's collected the 3%. You did so well describing it the other time, so what's it do again?
Okay.
Puts us in with the state, right?
Yeah.
It lines it up with the state KRS.
Exactly, yeah, the state has said that counties and local governments can ask for up to 3%.
Yes.
And so it just basically makes our ordinance match the state.
Right.
And it's mostly to do not with the amount, but with what is a short-term rental. Really clarifying that and defining that.
Yes, well, like campgrounds and things, and it spells out what is a short-term rental.
Yeah, and it's to assist with clarifying with Airbnb that they need to be remitting the taxes that they have been collecting and not remitting. They've been taking them from property owners and our guests to the county and not remitting it.
Yeah, it applies to cabins, lodgings, campsites, and other accommodations charged by any hotel, motor inn, tourist camp, tourist cabin, campgrounds, recreational vehicle parks, or any other place in which accommodations are regularly furnished to transients for consideration by any person that facilitates the rental of accommodations for brokering, coordinating, or in any other way arranging for the rental of accommodations. And I know it does not apply if you're 30 days or more for one person.
Right.
All right. With that-
I'll make a motion that we approve ordinance 16, 2025.
Second.
All right, we have a motion by Jim, seconded by Will, to pass ordinance number 16, 2025. Any discussion? All right, if you would, Madam Clerk, call the roll, please.
Judge Travis?
Yes.
Squire Travis?
Yes.
Squire Cotton?
Yes.
Squire Stump?
Yes.
Squire Ferris?
Yes.
Squire Eldridge?
Yes.
Okay, it's unanimous, it's passed. Thank you. Anything else,
Yes,
Ms.
just-
Scott?
Just one thing, I just wanted to update the fiscal court on a process that we've instituted with tourism. We are asking any businesses that want directly tourism support, as far as marketing and event support, things like that, please register with us. And what that process is they just give us their regular contact information, their business address, which for the most part we already have, but we're asking them for their occupational license account number. And that is so that we can give our support back to the county and to the city by making sure that the businesses that we are assisting are also paying their occupational license taxes. So we just wanted to let you know that we're trying to give back.
Okay. All right, any questions? All right, thank you, Catherine.
Thank you very much.
Stephanie?
All right.
Catherine, you're welcome to stay, or you're welcome to take cookies and go home.
I'll stay a little bit.
Okay.
Thank you. Good evening. I'll try to keep this really short, so I know nobody likes to hang out late in the evening. Over the last 7 to 10 days, I've gotten 4 requests from different companies asking for our ACH banking information. A lot of these large corporations are going away from writing checks. Therefore, they just want our banking information so they can just send the zeros and ones through the air, and we get them. I talked to Doug about it because I don't really have our bank account information, Doug holds that. But, one of the concerns Doug has, and it's a legitimate concern, is we didn't know how these transfers would appear for Doug. Would it say that it was UPS Worldwide? Would it say it was Market Source Inc., or is it gonna be some other odd name that Doug's trying to figure out where this money actually goes? Then once Doug figures that out, then he's gotta talk to me, and it becomes this whole process. And our solution was just to go to people's bank and have a bank account open specifically for occupational tax. We went over today and talked to Nikki, it's doable. I can be under Doug's umbrella, that can just be under Doug's umbrella, just like the jail fund, the road fund, and the other funds we have. And I will give out that banking information to people asking for it. That way when that money comes in, we know it is specifically occupational tax. Then it's on me to figure out what account's credited to and those sorts of things. It's not on Doug to keep up with it. And then Doug and I haven't exactly worked out the small details on once every 30 days, Doug will take that chunk of money and put it back in the general fund or whatever, or just switch the money around. But if I have an account dedicated to occupational tax, it will take a burden of work off Doug and clear up some of the questions we have on a regular basis with even like bank card settlements and some of those things for people that pay by credit card. And since my one and only job is to bring in money, the more ways we offer taxpayers to pay, the more likely we are to get the funds. Because I did have one taxpayer flat out tell me, we won't pay your credit card fee and we won't send you a check. So if you want our money, we have to play the game. We talked to Nikki and she said all it needs is authorization from you guys. All I would like is I would like the ability to go online and see the account. I don't want authorization to move money, touch money, I just want to see it so that as that money comes in, I can look at it, verify, and apply to the correct accounts. And then, like I said, Doug and I'll have to work out details on when it gets transferred or whatever, but then that's mostly just going to go back on Doug. Any questions?
Sounds like y'all gotta figure it out.
We tried.
Motion
I
to
tried to make-
approve, Stephanie's request.
Second.
All right, we have a motion by Zach, seconded by Will, to approve the request of opening
To allow her access to.
yeah, to opening an account for ACH collections of occupational taxes, and that Stephanie would have the ability to view the statement. All right, any other discussion? All right, and I guess it's not included in the motion, but we'll, I guess, open it at the People's Bank. Anyone object to that?
Yeah, I'll put it in.
You know, make an amendment that we open it at the People's, or just add it to the motion. The seconder okay with adding that? All right, so we'll add that to the motion at the People's Bank. Any other discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion passes. So we'll get you an account open and those folks can pay.
That's awesome, thanks guys. And just one other small thing, Squire Ferris, you talked to me about this already. I got an email from the COLA board the other day, and none of you all have had to deal with this. It'll be old news to Doug, but apparently this year in the legislative session, they are really gonna push for centralized collection for occupational tax. Apparently Kentucky Society of CPAs wants to do this. They are talking to the representatives, they are lobbying hard for it. When I first started here, this was a conversation that we had every single year, where the state wants to collect all the money, the CPAs and businesses, and I can appreciate the businesses' standpoint, especially for businesses everywhere. They just want to write one check to one entity and not have to keep track of all the different tax collectors, jurisdictions. It's a thorn in their side. So this year they are really going to push for centralized collection at the state level. The state does not have the employee base to do it. They don't have the systems to do it. However, I don't think that ever can stop the state from stepping in. And Doug could give you hard numbers. I wasn't around for this, but this happened with the telecommunications tax as well. Yes? Is this what they did? They collected it centrally? Yeah. And instead of keeping 100% of our tax dollars, would we end up with a thing that 25, 30%, 40% on telecommunications?
Yeah,
We'll lose our money, boys. That's really where this is going. So,
Sure, the state's not gonna do this for free.
they're not. And that's where they're gonna take their cut off the top. So, you know, right now you pay me, I do okay.
Is that something that's gonna be mandatory?
It is up for discussion. If it gets passed as a bill, it could be mandatory. And my understanding is that Kentucky Society of CPAs is already hitting the ground running before the legislative session hits. So I haven't spoken to James Allen specifically yet. I don't need, from a revenue standpoint, that's not any good for the county. So just putting a bug in your ear, reach out to James Allen, other representatives you all might know, other people you might know, to advocate against central collections. If you all have any questions, I'll try to answer them, but I just have bare bones information. I just, it's coming up, and it's been a huge fight before.
All right,
All right,
thanks, Jason.
thank you.
You're welcome to take a box of cookies, or you're welcome to stay with us.
But you can't do both.
No, you can do both. All right, I'm going to, Bill, you and Jim, if y'all would like to come up, we'll do the sanitation report right now.
Yes.
I'm jumping around, it's on page 83, not 83.
Bill turned it in.
It's,
Oh,
well, there is some stuff on page 84. There's some stuff in the package, of some of the minutes, from previous meetings, page 84 and 85. And then, we do need to make a motion on a draw, but right now I'll give Bill the floor to give a update on sanitation.
We got 15 minutes.
7.5.
You're not magistrate, I have the right to ask for 5 more, right?
No.
But you may or may not give it to me, right?
It's 15.
Jimmy taking my time, I lost 30 seconds. You guys know Jim Schaefer? He said come with me tonight. I gave every one of you this. That's pretty much synopsis of where we are today. I'm gonna skim through that, leave that to you. If you got any questions, you can have my number, give me a call. I'll be glad to sit down with you, talk to you on the phone or whatever. But at this point, and thank you for requesting us to be there. We have a new office right across the street, next to the chamber. That is opening as we speak, working on that, getting closer every day. Hopefully first year we ready to roll. In November, we invited the Top Flight HOA to our meeting, and that went very well. They had lists of questions, we answered them, they left happy. And everything at the plant is going well. Everything's closed. The Landings pump station is now operating at 100%. Both pumps are in good shape. The county road foreman is getting ready to start helping us rebuild the road going down to that. It is a mess, but we've got water down the station now. Got that put in. Couldn't believe had pump stations and the sewer system didn't have a water hose to it. So now we got water to that station. We'll have water to the new station going in. I can tell you we had a leak we found during some looks down there. About half the
Describe the leak.
we call that I&I.
It was a water leak.
That's
Not a sewer leak.
right. That's where the water is coming in around the pipe, not through the pipe. So you imagine it developed 179 homes, probably 80 of those houses come to that pump station, and all that pipe is a big lateral system and a French drain. Water pouring through it. Looked in one day, we had about 2 inches of rain. I had more pipe and water coming around the pipe than it through it. So we hired a company to come in and dig it up for us. We repaired that. The boot was not put in properly originally in the manhole or the wet well. So that is done. We were picking up about 20,000 gallons a day with the inch and a half rain or more. Hitting the edge of that pump station, going in the station, we were treating clean water. Well, that's kind of interesting when you got a plant that's operating right now today, 179 houses, and we're running 30,000 gallons a day. One good rain, we're adding 20,000 to it. So we've taken care of that. And that's a great thing. So that's moving forward. River City Controls is working on our SCADA system. The SCADA system is telemetry, and we can literally, when he is finished, within the next 2 weeks, we can pull this phone up right here, look at that system, tell what it's doing, what it's not doing. If we have to have a call and there's a problem, a rag stuck in there or something, we can get on, or myself or whoever has to, you know, our operations person, turn that pump backwards, reverse it, get that thing out of there, keep going. Any issues or problems at all, I tell you, 24/7, has a lot of technology with it. That's great. Once that's finished, and running well, then we can pull out the pump, which is costing us $2,500 a month, $1,000 less than what Jack was paying, 3 years. And we also will be able to have them free of charge on call at any problem. They'll come bring stuff and help us out if we have an issue. We are wiring the stations, both of them, while we're doing the SCADA for electric, so we can put in a generator if we need to. So we're looking into that, look at the cost generator. Tried to buy one last week, didn't quite work out, and a little higher than we thought. We had to prove that much money. But we're looking at putting a generator, at least at the big station, probably both of them, if we can get a good enough price on that. Of course, WRS will pay for that. By the way, right now, we're about $200,000 under budget right there at that first pump station. Because what we have done to the pumps and done a lot of work ourselves, it saved us quite a bit of money. UV lighting, we have our secondary UV lighting that's going to be working on and running here shortly. Big news, facilities plan. This is the next step we're going to take. And I will go down there for the first of the year with HMB. We'll talk Division of Water. Nothing new. They know we're coming. They know what we're doing. They know the plan. And we'll get kind of the final, okay, it's good, let's get going. So we'll come back and it will be advertised. We'll have our public hearings. And depending on how much negativity or whatever we get, depending on how long it takes to get through that. What we have done is exactly what you told us to do, pretty much a donut hole. Our ordinance said that we take all territory in the county that is not currently served by the city. And that's what we've done. We kicked out our line, all the way to the county line, on all sides. So someone like MSD doesn't come in here and take territory from us, and we don't have to worry about what we went through the last couple of years again. Doesn't mean we have sewer all the way to the county lines. That means that it's our territory to serve and do this as needed as it comes through. So, we'll do that. We'll have our public hearings. You guys will be sure to be known about that. So, let's see, where am I at? D. I'm on D, yes, sir. HMB. They have estimates together for building a sewer plant, and we expect in the next meeting we'll be discussing and most likely giving the commission to go ahead with the design. That does not mean build. That does not mean we're spending money. You got to design what you're going to do, and then see where the money comes in at. And you still don't build. At that point, once it's done and everything's in agreement, which you guys will be kept informed as we go, then you look at bidding it out, and then you start construction.
What do they charge for designing that? Do they charge anything?
Yes, I can't tell you without pulling my budget up, and I don't have it in front of me, what they charge. That is a set fee, and it's pretty much set by a standard rule with engineers. I had someone from the city had asked me that, and they were saying, well, it's about 10% of every project you do. No, ours is more like 5.5.
Well, I think it's based on, and I know with water construction lines, a lot of them are USDA numbers that are set.
Yes, the USDA numbers puts that out, and that's a scale they work off of, but they don't have to. Some engineers can get a little happy.
And then the cost of the plant, the higher the cost, the lesser the commission
Yes.
is, I think.
Yeah, we saved a significant amount of money doing the work that we're doing ourselves now at the pump station. We saved pretty good money there because we put it together as a board. And then some of the stuff we put out for bid, and like the road, the county's doing the road. And Todd will keep up with every dollar, everything is spent, and then he'll give it back to us. We'll put it in the WRS request, and we'll get the money paid back, and we'll pay the county for that. That saved us a significant amount of money, a lot of money. So, you know, I'm gonna skip one down. The, see where I wanna go. We are, as part of the design work, we are having a design for with the board's blessing. The board has not voted on this, but that'll be coming up our next meeting. But, you know, we have to have a contract, even though we have an overall umbrella for HMB, KIA requires them each time we go a different step, they have to go back in and do this, and this, and the money's already there. We've got close to $800,000, I think, in the bank. Doug probably verify that better, that came from for the engineering. And, you know, it's sitting there drawing interest right now with the bank, because we don't need it, we're not gonna use it. So it may be 6 months before we use it. The KIA said, that's fine, you know, said, put it on CD if you want to. I about fell over, they said that, but they did. You know, everything we do, guys, everything we do is in writing. We talked to Corey. Corey and I have been hand in hand in this thing. Thank you, Corey. He has been so instrumental. You guys would not believe it. Fridays, Saturdays, Sundays, whatever it took to make it go, he's done it. And we have in writing any question or step we went to, we have it in writing by one or more people with KIA. So we are fully compliant across the board. Section 6, that's the new development. We are currently working on that. We have just a little bit more to go. There's a few items I put on the list that need to be done, haven't been done yet. But we're getting pretty close to getting that finished. And then they'll be ready to start building, and we'll be getting some money in for tap fees and so forth. You know, that time we'll be able to pay fiscal court back some of the money that you've lent us that we haven't paid back yet. Bills are going good. I skipped over that a little bit. The billing process was pretty rough. It was all over the board, guys. And we put Steve Bowman on our board and Martin on there. We have hired Seal, who works for the bank, and she has been very instrumental in helping us get together. And it was hair pulling for about a month and a half. They finally got us figured out, and they said, okay, this is it. We're cutting out October 1st. We're going to start collecting money ourselves. Anything before that, Jack's going to collect and settle the difference up with us. He's been key one, right dead on task. He's done a great job. Everything's worked out. A little bit of confusion, but it's not been too bad. And things are starting to move forward. I think by January 1st, we're probably going to be in pretty good shape and move forward. We did change from a variance of different bills a month that Jack was charging, and they were coming in at all times a month. We did a flat situation, $65 a month. We did it monthly instead of bi-monthly. You know, we figured to make it easier on people. If you get behind 2 bills at a time, it's tough. If it's just one, you can work it out better. No one has had to complain about that. I haven't heard the first person had a problem with it. So all that's working well. What I want to close with.
Bill, I have a question. Is the collection getting caught up?
Yeah.
I was at your last meeting, and it looked like they were maybe a third had paid at that point.
Yeah.
How is it looking now, or do you know?
It's doing better. I haven't checked in the last few days, but it was picking up better. There's still a little bit of confusion because some of it got billed by Jack, but he billed in arrears 2 months.
Right.
Then you turn around in October, you got a bill from us, it's a little confusing. We've had a couple people that sold it and moved, but they've gotten in touch with us, the new people.
Yeah.
They're lined up and going. So that's why I say probably in January, we'll be in good shape. We said we're not gonna push anybody, we're gonna leave this thing be, we're gonna work through December, work through January, and I charge the extra fees for late charges. By January, we should be in pretty good shape. Jack wound up with, I think, everyone paying him. So that means we got to start on a clean slate. It's just a matter of some people being confused about when they got their bill.
Right.
All the calls, I didn't know it until I called myself today. The calls were being forwarded from the county phone to my cell phone. Hadn't had too many calls, that's good. But to give you an idea where we're at, the new SDR plant and the collector main. So we're talking about a new plant that's sitting 50 feet away, 75 feet from the existing plant in the field. That plant and the collector main. What about collector main? That is a force main that runs from the sewer plant, cross country, under the high lines. That way it runs right easement sort of thing. They follow the high lines out in one or two directions. And normally they can split off and go across RECC or they go straight on KU. But that will, at that point in that area somewhere, we'll have the pump station and the low point. Then we'll have a 15-inch main to run from that point to Highway 155 around the area of 1633. Maybe here, maybe here. It ain't gonna make any difference. Just where our preference is gonna be when David designs it and with the people that were crossing the property. Even though we have an easement through their high lines, we wanna make sure everybody's on board, there are no questions. At this point, it seems we're okay. Seems. So, that plant and the collector main. Realize this, you design here, you can build here. But we can start building that collector main as soon as it's ready. I'm not trying to get the cart behind the head of the horse. I want you guys to know where it can go. Because we were asked to get that main to the main highway as soon as we can. Well, Taylorsville, not sure. I told the judge we'll do our best by next year to have that at that point, if at all possible, see where you guys want to go. We have 60,000 gallon surplus capacity now at our sewer plant. So we can take on 60,000 gallons. And guys, we need it. It'd be sweet. We're just getting where it's starting to be profitable at the number we've got. If we can fill that baby up, we'll get into some pretty decent profit and roll pretty good. Plus, when the new plant's built, we're gonna have that much more. So this line will put us in good condition, be where we need to go, for you guys to go whatever direction you wanna go. We're not deciding that. You guys are gonna decide where you want this thing to go. We're gonna come to that point and stop. But schools, it should be close enough we can take care of new schools if they come in. We have capacity to take care of new schools if they come in. And I'm told they are gonna move forward with that. But I heard it's 3 years, we'll see what happens. But that cost for those two is $8,450,000. Now this is an estimate, it's not a bid. Dave's pretty conservative. You have the purchase of the top lot plant, which is done, it's $500,000. 7 acres, about 250, that joined it, which is great. That gives us 9 acres, guys. That's enough to do anything we're going to need to do, well beyond our time in the northern part of the county, and maybe a little beyond, okay? Miscellaneous expenditures, SCADA, UV lighting, roadway, pump station number 1, you know, a few other items, about 150. So the total overall cost right now, estimated, I want to say again, we have not spent this money. We don't spend the penny that you all don't approve and agree with. So, you know, I want you to understand that, because you know, we don't want any rumors going on. You guys know everything we're doing, and you will know. And you will agree, or we won't do it. That all totals up to $9,350,000. The original budget amount was $10,050,000, so, you know, we have uncommitted funds based on the original budget of around $650,000. So if all goes well, and it may come in a little better than that once it's actually bid. You know, we just don't know. But at this point, we're within our realm of where we need to be. We'll continue working on that. And, you know, we're already looking for money for the future. You know, we asked for $10 million, well, before we even owned the plant. James said, how much money do you all need? I think we're going to surplus this year. We said, ask for $10 million. You know, at the end, we were wondering if we didn't get $50,000 or not. We wound up $10,050,000. So, you know, I've always been a strong proponent. You can ask for it. If you don't ask for it, you won't get it. So, I urge you guys to be thinking about what you're planning. Our board doesn't, you know, follow the plan that much. We'd love to have your input. Your call. I think, you know, Jim and I both want to thank you for not leading us by the ear. You know, you appointed us to this board and you gave us a challenge of getting this thing on its feet and going. I hope you're happy with the job we've done. We worked very hard. And it's our goal to work together and whatever you're ready for in the future, hopefully we'll be able to meet that. Jim, you got anything to add there?
Yeah. One thing I'd like to ask you guys is that, we've got a good board, there's 5 guys, everybody with a specific discipline, looking at all these projects in 5 different ways. And sort of Corey has been involved in all of that. We would ask that if you have any questions, any concerns, come to our meetings. See how much work goes into planning this thing and getting it as far as you have in this short period of time. But we also ask that if you're approached by a developer, a homeowner, anybody that's impacted by what we're trying to do, send them to us at a board meeting or call us. Rather than, we can't make commitments that we don't all agree on. So we're just asking you guys to help us help you, so you ain't caught in the middle, so, oh, yeah, I get sued down here. We can't do that. We gotta work through a central group here and make an organized run at it. So that's what I would ask all of you guys.
Yeah. Basically, we don't want people creating division. We haven't had that issue yet, to my knowledge. But I did have one man that got all over Facebook. He said this, like the pump station smell and some other stuff. He said, well, we're here. He couldn't hear it. Well, homeowner association, he said, well, are you gonna respond to that? I said, no. I said, anyone that has a question, they are fully welcome, and we'll make time for them, tell them to come on our meeting. If it's several people that's trying to get the same thing going, let's get a few people represented. We'll give you time, we'll talk about it. And we explained to them the amount of money we had spent, what we were doing, and, we didn't get a response once. And he didn't show up at the meeting. So, thus far, I think this has worked very, very, very well. But you will get a time when a developer is not happy or maybe a customer or something, and, we'd like to get them to come and talk to us and see if we can work things out rather than drag you guys into it. And I've been in your seat. I've had plenty of calls in the past. They'll tell you somebody get upset, they'll give you a call and try and drag you in the middle of it and make it rough on you.
But we are real sensitive to the homeowners in the surrounding area, so, and the group we had here that one night, they were just pleased as they could be with the methods we were taking, and they said they'd never smelled anything.
Yeah.
So, not that it can't happen, but, the plans that we put in place, and Bill's guidance, we should not have any issues. We got backup to the backup, we got, telemetry coming to where we're notified if there's an issue, because the fines are excessive, as you already know. What happened to Jack here like a couple years ago.
So we get those generators in there. My original thought, I was bouncing, pump, generator, pump, generator. Well, our judge, thank you, Scott, answered that question for me a couple of weeks ago. Now, Blue Tank had been over the day before, checked the pump, everything's fine and dandy, no problems. Scott called me and said, the pump's frozen. I said, can't be, hadn't pumped anything. Well, you know what, there's a little bit of water by that pump, or a pump before, and it was frozen just enough that impeller wouldn't turn. They came out there, put electric tape on it, we were fine. But for me that day, they decided by the issue, I want a pump or a generator. I want a generator. Now, if we need it, we can always get Blue Tank and bring a pump out. We got the price for doing it, everything else. So we're fine, but thank you, Scott, for checking on that for us, because it, I don't know why you're over there doing it, but you certainly helped out.
It was a cold day.
Huh?
It was a cold day.
Yeah, but we didn't have any issues that day, had no issues. And guys, by the way, from the time we offered Jack the money on this and started watching it and what was going on, just staying on top of it, to today, it's been about 4 months, roughly. There's not been one notice of violation. Every single back T test has come back within the limits, very good, very strong. If a plant is run properly, especially with just residential, a lot of times you don't buy too many chemicals. How many chemicals we bought since we have been in this thing, in the last 4 months? 0. Because we're introducing sludge, putting it back in there as seed, and using that. And what MSD was doing, guys, there's such a big difference what MSD does and what's happening here, it's unbelievable. But Cover Bridge is doing a fantastic job, and we a little hard on them, stay on top of them. But you know, like Jim said, we don't want any accidents, and we're working diligently to get past that here in the next few weeks and move forward. My 15 minutes are up.
All right, does anyone have any questions for Bill or Jim?
I've got a comment.
Yes.
This is in my district, so, you know, this has been going on now for 2 years, and I was not in favor of the county being in the sewer business from the beginning. And I was opposed to buying the plant out there, but as it went along, I changed my mind. Okay, then we go into buying this plant for $500,000, and then all of a sudden, we're gonna buy 7 acres and build a new plant, which was never in the talk to begin with.
But in ours either.
But, you know,
Yeah.
I'm concerned about, you know, how fast we're moving. You know, I mean, if this plant is in 50% capacity now, why couldn't we lay a sewer line to Highway 155 and use the existing plant we got now instead of going and building a new one?
That's what we will do, provided everybody agrees to it, that's the plan. And because we got the capacity, let's use it.
Yes.
We need the money, so that's the plan. It's gonna take about 3 years to build a new plant.
Well, I mean, do we need a new plant? That's what I'm getting at.
Yes, we
Why
do.
can't we use the existing plant we have now, if it's 50% capacity? And when we lay this new line, we don't have anybody that's gonna tie into it right now. In the future, it will be.
Well, the plan will hold about 300 more houses. I mean, they only want them to be like 80%.
Yeah, 80%, they want you to start designing for a new one,
Yep.
so it wouldn't take much to hit 80% on that old plant.
So we
the
don't
key
have
thing
any,
is-
we don't have any developments that's going on to the new line, going to 155 as we speak, other than what Trevor's putting in now. The 40.
It's very possible. And once we're there, should you decide to go back to Taylorsville,
And we're talking about building a new plant and dismantling this plant. Is that correct?
once the new plan is done.
Yes.
And online.
Yes.
Yeah.
So my question is, do we need a new plant at this time?
Yes. Division of Water wants that plant shut down. They don't
Why?
like those plants.
Why?
They don't want it because it's.
Well, no, but I mean, is it because it's not working properly?
It's not been managed properly
Well,
for
I know,
years.
but
It is now.
You're basically in control of it now, so if it's being managed properly, I would assume.
Best our ability. And, you know, when you get no notice of violations,
This
you're.
$10 million
running well.
that we got from the state, you know, we've already spent, what, $1 million of it probably, just in studies and this and that. You know, is that gonna be enough to build a new plant plus lay a sewer line all the way from the plant to 155?
According to David, yes. I talked to David, our engineer, this afternoon, before I came here, to be reassured the numbers. You heard it, Corey, he was in the office when David called me back. And yes, we do. So,
So what's the cost of a new plant? I mean, how big a plant are you talking?
we're talking 250,000 gallons,
And what's the cost on that?
5 million,
a
Bill.
little over 5 million.
The main, with what this estimate is in this package, here is $8,450,000 for the new sewer plant
And the collector main, yeah. And I hated to come in this point of the meeting this week. I said, man, I wish I'd come next month. 'Cause I had those numbers to a T next month. But I did ask David, you know, again, what do you think? And that's what he told me.
How many gallon is our plant right now, the one that's out there?
The one out there now is a 120,000 gallon plant. We are committed to 60,000 gallon of the homes in top flight done. That is including the last, Trevor has 13 coming up on Asphalt Road, pretty much done here shortly. He has a total of 44, including those 13. So that's the next year and a half.
So you have about 190,000 still left, once you build that new plant.
Yeah, we're gonna lose 120,000 right off the bat out of that new plant because it's gonna take the place of the old one. Also,
You-
another thing.
How long is it gonna take? Say we build the new line over the 155. How long, you know, what's the time schedule that we can pump into this system we have now, which we have no developments coming on it, other than what Trevor's got coming on to it?
Probably next Christmas or
I
18
mean,
months.
we have nobody that's gonna, committed to tie on to this system. So how long can we supply this system we've got now, which is 50% capacity?
Say it again. You last sentence, I was thinking.
When we lay the line out to 155,
Yes,
okay, we're anticipating people tying on to it and adding
Eventually.
extra gallons into it. All right, how long will it take for, the capacity we have now, okay, to supply how many homes on that new line? What's the time schedule?
well,
I'm getting that.
that new line is only part.
Is what?
I don't know what the future holds. I know what I've been told, but I don't have proof, and I don't deal with speculation based on somebody says we're selling this or we're doing that. I can't tell you one thing that Kevin thought of. That new line is not the only place we can get commitment for sewer. I have had a couple different people ask me. You've got the, acres left over at Willow Island, should they decide to do something. You have a little land behind where Trevor's developing now, small farmland, that is being looked at. You have Tom Morrissey's farm, Chapman Lane, pretty good sized farm. All you have to do is run a line across that road, down the easement tie into a manhole, and that's done. Behind that, you've got the old Foreman farm, which is a little bit Shelby, but that's getting ready to be developed, so I'm told. I haven't talked to the person that bought it, but.
You know, I was under the assumption that, that Top Flight, that this sewer plant was specifically for Top Flight, and it could not be any other development tie into it legally.
That
Now,
was-
where do we stand there? I'm asking Corey too, because that was my understanding that once Top Flight was there and that plant was for Top Flight, period, and any development in the Top Flight area. Now we're venturing out of that. Legally, where do we stand?
Let me answer that and let Corey back me up or finish up. Top Flight was originally set just for Top Flight.
Yes.
Now, when Jack bought it, or we were running Top Flight, it was kind of set up around the development itself, and it was in that area. Didn't mean they couldn't expand. If MSD came in there, they were dragging on Goodwill going to expand.
Yeah, but
So,
by Kentucky state law,
Yep, no, law has nothing to do with it.
they could not expand
No.
beyond that boundary.
No,
The way I
if they-
understand it.
But you're wrong.
Okay.
Don't get me wrong.
Thank you for correcting me.
Well, don't take the wrong way, Jim. We've been friends a long time. Sometimes they take the wrong way. As long as they stayed in the Top Flight perimeter, they were fine. But if they left Top Flight and served one house, then whoever was running that plant had to go to PSC and get permission, because now they're servicing the public,
We talked about that a lot.
which MSD could do or Bluegrass could do. We don't have to because we do not answer to PSC. We're conscious of that because of how we're set up the county. Counties, they don't have to answer to PSC. We could expand, we have expanded. We discussed this with the homeowner association, they were fine. I mean, they knew about 7 acres.
I mean,
They were playing.
are we okay legally on what you're saying?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
And we've been to Division of Water and talked about
okay,
it.
that
And
was
they're
my
okay.
main concern.
But it's, I see where it's confusing though.
I think there's two questions here that might help clarify the potential need for a new plant. What's the expected lifespan of the existing?
10 years.
10 remaining years?
Yeah.
And you said the division of water, and you kind of touched on this point, but the division of water with these types of plants, do they look for the state or not?
Right. They don't want these plants and they don't want them at all.
You say the 10-year expectancy.
Or left.
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
We had 30 about. It's 20
okay,
years old.
so, if we got 10 years left, that means we would have to do some expansion or, remodeling of the old plant to bring it up, to make it last 20 years?
Remodeling
Longer?
is very, very, very expensive. If you're running full capacity,
Well, you're
Or
talking
close.
about buying a new, building a new plant, for $8 million. Would it cost that much to expand the one we've got? That's what I'm saying.
But you can't.
You can't.
What we have is a metal plant, it's a box, and that's it.
Yeah.
Now, I'm glad you just said question, because our new plant is an SPR plant, and it will be 250,000 gallon plant, will be just a little bit bigger footprint than what we have 50 feet over, okay, 75. And it's built in modules, just like these tiles on the floor. 50 here, 75, 100, whatever, however they make them. And the good thing of it is, we have got 250,000 gallons. That's gonna give us extra capacity, which we're gonna need, which is good. That should last us, based on engineers look at the growth of the county in the next 15 years, should last us a good 15 years. Now, the other thing good about that is SBR plant, our current plant, if you get something bad in there, it can knock the whole plant, kill it there and done. You don't have any bacteria, you're hauling in seed. It's interesting, I had to drop a seed bin haul since NSD is gone, and never told us how much they haul, but they charge Jack for it. But we're using the old sludge and bringing back in the seed, reintroducing it. It's working. But with the SBR plant, if we have a problem over here, we can isolate this cell right here, continue operating these cells, and don't worry about it. And once this cell builds back up, we're fine. So we can take seed and put it back over here. That's the beauty of it. And you can expand it a block at a time. So once we got the initial footprint of the ground, Springfield, you know, what's all theirs, they're getting ready to add another 100,000 gallons, which would be a couple more pods. So
So how much capacity do we have in the future in this new plant we're talking about? The initial plant we're putting in, 250,000
Yes, sir.
gallons?
Mhm.
Okay, the acreage we've got, you know, how much can we expand from there, 15, 20 years from now?
you could go 500,000,
I mean, you know,
possibly 750,000 gallons.
And when technology changes, it could be even, again,
Right.
more capacity, smaller footprint.
I got a question, just because you brought it up. When you talk about like that foreman farm, you know, it comes in that Chesapeake Bay Meadows.
Yeah,
But in
yeah.
Shelby County, and I had someone ask a question, I just said, I don't know if it's been talked about. How would that work if something, just take that farm, the right side of that farm is in Shelby County, if it got developed, quarter-acre lots, what's that look like bringing sewer from different counties to our plant?
But number one, just like we're talking about Tigersville right now, everybody has their territory. So we're ready to get our facilities plan done. Tom, no, he runs Shelby County.
Yeah.
Moving on. Hey, we're finishing, Tom. Now, we just had some address changes, things a little wacky over here at Top Flight. I'm not sure what house is in Shelby, which one's not. I can't find anything that says we ever had permission to put sewer in Shelby County. Somebody's already got it. And that was before you changed addressing. What I'd like to do, Tom, we're doing our facilities plan. You don't have anything in this area. I'd like to run this down to Van Dyke Mill Road. Anything from Van Dyke Mill Road out this way, cut back across the county line is ours. I'm not looking at going into Shelby unless somebody comes in later. Now, a week later, I heard they sold the farm. Will they do it or not, I don't know. But before we went into Shelby, we called Tom, and he may say, sure, Don, I'm not gonna sort and take it. But they said, no, we won't do it.
So,
The bigger question is, what's their planning and zoning gonna do? That's all
Well,
5 acre
there's
tracts.
no sewer in that part of Shelby County at all.
No, no.
So, you know, they'd have, if they're gonna tap into any sewer, it would be Top Line.
Yeah, if
if
we
somebody
agree,
owns that territory to say you can or can't do it.
yeah,
That
but
was
if,
just
Well,
my
we'd be the
question.
ones to say whether you can or not. Okay, are we, do you think we're in agreement to let Shelby County tie on to it?
that has not even been asked yet.
I mean, but what else?
Oh, I don't know, are we?
I don't know. That's what I'm asking
I
you.
mean, we got a board here, number one, where are they bringing? What are they doing? How big is it?
Well, just
Now,
say.
is it gonna, how's it gonna affect our
there's
plant? They might cap it
a
completely out.
50-lot development on the north side of Van Dyke Mill, and they say, well, we don't wanna put it on sewers, we want R2, we wanna tie into your system. How are we gonna respond?
Well,
we can either take it or we don't have to.
I know.
right, we don't have to take anything outside our area. You know, my opinion,
I think
this
we
is
need,
not our board.
well, I think we need to have that in writing somewhere. that
Well,
we
let me
either do
interject
or
something here,
don't.
Jim.
Well, our facility plan doesn't allow that yet, and unless Tom says so, it says, yes, you can do it. That's his area.
Tom, who?
Tom Dole, he's
That's
over
a
the
guy
water
in
and sewer in Shelby County.
Okay.
Of course, Division of Water would have to bless
Individual.
anything.
We have to upgrade the facilities plan number one to go into Shelby.
Can we deny them?
Yes, in a heartbeat.
All right.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Because they denied us. Because through this exercise, back through our minutes,
Yeah.
we went to Shelby County before we went even considered Top Flight, said, can you take it? And they said, no, but they just finished the big.
Well, actually, Tom said, yes, I'd love it,
Yeah,
but
because-
then his board said no.
But I mean, what I think we could do
Go
on
there
this,
first.
Jim, is if, when it comes up, we need to be at a negotiating table. And if it pencils out and we get it in writing to suit all parties, then I would hope we would welcome it.
Yeah,
But it's gonna start with you guys.
Right.
So you're the pencil at the table to start. Can you serve it? Yeah, we got capacity. But what's fiscal board plan? If you don't want it, it's a different story. If you embrace it, you want it,
I just wanted to know
we'll
what
do our
that
best to see
process,
could you get sewer.
the process would look like. So if we get there, one day we get there. But you answered my question.
Yeah.
I just wanted to see what
All right.
that process.
Well, I think
You-
for the purposes of what Mr. Drury was talking about here, I really like what I heard about everything that he had to say. It seems like that they have been exuberantly busy
It's been pretty rough.
and keeping Cord busy at the same time. And I think that these guys have done a great job of putting an initial plan together for the direction, a direction to go, and presented us with estimated numbers. And I know with this court, we've always said that we're gonna try to move forward with development, we're gonna try to do business, industrial, and other things of that nature. And even though development's slowed a little bit over the last year, I do believe they're probably gonna pick back up soon. And, I think you guys are going in the right direction.
Thank you.
And I
We're trying
appreciate-
hard.
And I appreciate your all's hard work.
And guys, the buck stops here, right here at this court. Because you have to approve anything that comes into this county for planning and zoning and fiscal court. And I think, Jim, am I safe in saying it's our goal to make sure that we have available what you may need to move whatever direction you guys need to move? None of us are pro-development, negative development, you know, certainly not looking for any political gain. So,
Well, I think
we're just here to build a plant and set the county to the next stage.
Well, I think this initial presentation of somewhat of the plan here is not, it's not looking 12 months, 24 months in the future. It's looking 5, 10,
We're looking 20 years in the future.
15, 20 years in the future. And, but I think the best way to plan for 20 years in the future is don't wait until you're 17 years into the future and then think, you know, because it all takes time.
I tried this 20 years ago, and we've been 20 years doing nothing, and thank goodness you guys stepped up to the plate, or we've been in world shape in the next 15, 20 years. You know, that's another thing no one's talking about, is the potential failed systems. Now, Justin can tell you about where they are, but, you know, systems are gonna fail after so many years. If you got 3, 4, 5 acres, probably not a big deal, you got a repair area, you do, and technologies will increase. You know, and there are other avenues. You know, like Mobile, y'all seen the new systems that are out here, things are changing every day. You know, it doesn't have to be a sewer. You know, it's quality of life. But if we get to that manhole, now, you wanna go left, you wanna go right, you guys are gonna be the ones to tell us what direction to go. We just need ready to do it. But once we get into that part of Elk Creek, which we're there, you know, we get a little closer down toward the red light, caution light, red light now, then there'll eventually probably be another pump station there, because everything from that point can come here. Everything from here can come here, and 1630 can go back this way. Everything else is the town, you pump either way or whatever. But if we continue the path we're continuing right now, Justin's done a fabulous job. He's done a fabulous job. with making sure that we don't have junk laterals going anymore. And, you know, the closer we are to what may be a problem area in 20 years from now, which I don't think any of us will probably be sitting here, if y'all do think about me, I know I won't be, then the easier it's gonna be. We're not be looking at this thing like they did in Jefferson County and Indian Hills, where they're charging $40,000 a house and mandating you hook on it. If you don't do it, we're gonna lien your property and get that plus interest. You know, we're not looking at that stuff today, because you guys have been wise enough to put this thing together and move forward. We're gonna be close enough to the infrastructure that, you know, as things go, then they hook up the sewer. What size lots it's gonna be, guys, it's up to you. You know, I did early line, we did fantastic, made good money up there on 150 acres, 132 lots. Some of them were half acre, some were more. But all we can do is get to the point where we can help you guys at the next step. All right, and tell us what we need.
Doug, you got some?
What are you looking at doing, draw on the floor, because we haven't approved 3 yet, but
You know, we're gonna consider draw 3 here in a minute. I mean, you don't have, do you have a draw 4 on the
Not
horizon?
yet, I think we're gonna put together, yeah, there will be one, it's not gonna be real large. It will cover, if we decide to do
How
generator.
soon? How soon? Well, you do need a generator.
Yeah, probably 30 days. I don't, after sometime in January, later January. So I kinda wanna get everything together and done, and then do that. So we look at the generators possibly, we're looking at getting stuff from Todd, the road's done and finished. Kind of a wipe up, you know, cause at that point, you know, January's gonna slow down for us. It'll be the last busy meeting we have. And then we're gonna move into the facilities plan and the meetings with that. So let everybody breathe a little bit. You know, Jack threw us, man taking over and.
We will need to
water.
cut Jack his balance of his check here.
January 2nd, if you can, please. That was our agreement.
Right, we gotta cut that check, of course, the WRIS is sitting there for that. But, Bill, I'm gonna wrap this all up.
That's
Any
fine.
other magistrate have any questions? So, I want everybody to be heard here on the board. All right.
You guys just call us.
Thank you, Bill.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jim. I'm not gonna give you the cookie spiel again, but there's cookies. All right, I'm
Ask
gonna
for it,
move this
forget
for a
it.
couple things.
Scott,
Yes,
we got a binder in our office. I think, Scott, I gave you the flash drive. If you have any questions about section 6 and what's been going on, you know, because there's a lot of issues there. That's all right here. H&D gave us a very good billing. They did a very good job. And they only went out there when they were called to be out there. And honestly, their price for their services were probably almost half of what the normal price would be. So, you know, just so you know, just in case you have a question, it's all right here, and I got an extra flash drive. I'll be glad to let you have it or make you a copy. Thank you, gentlemen. Have a good night.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
it, Scott.
Thank you, Bill. I'm gonna run through a few here. The zoning, Julie, we don't have any. Now, under B, the magistrate recommendation on page 70, that's what, I guess, Jim, you presented to us?
Yeah,
Or mentioned, go ahead.
Well, after I got to looking at all the ordinance that we passed on microbreweries and all that stuff, is that, and I talked about it last meeting, you know, I make homemade wine myself, and I buy my supplies from a girl that's got a shop on Westport Road, where the Kroger is right there, and it's a building, she releases a place about as big as this, and she's got 5 75-gallon vats that she makes wine there, and they're not open to the public, but I mean, she'll let you go in and look at them. But she sells her wine, and she sells other people's wines, and all winemaking supplies in that building. It's a mom and pop operation, she runs it. That's what I'm looking at and I don't think it was in any of our other ordinances of microbreweries or micro wineries or anything that dealt with this. And I'd like the court to recommend to planning and zoning to look at this and see if they can maybe come up with an ordinance that would allow that in a non-agricultural zone, which would be in the city of Taylorsville or the county, but it's not tied to agriculture. It's a mom and pop operation. But it would be a wine shop only, they don't sell any liquor or nothing but wine or wine-related facility. So that's what I'd like the court to recommend.
Yeah, if you'd like to make that in a motion?
I will, I'd like to recommend that the court go to planning and zoning and ask if they can consider an ordinance on micro wineries in the county.
All right. So we have a motion, is there a second?
Second.
All right, we have a motion by Jim, second by Dan, to ask planning and zoning to consider the language presented here for micro wineries, and that they go through the process and make considerations.
Yep.
So for the one, we did so many of them, there was nothing on winery except for ag.
That's right. You know, this is a winery in B zone.
And we have brewery and we have everything except winery in there.
Yes, yeah, we only did wineries in
For ag.
ag. That's right. And in, industrial. We did it in I and A.
Was there a reason?
We didn't do it in B.
I'd just like to say, if they should, I'm all about them considering it, but have them consider to propose something to us along the lines, meeting the language that we recommended on all the others to save us down the road.
Absolutely.
But I mean, you know, we all understand, they got a job to do, we got a job to do. You know, they did their job, they presented it to us, we did our job, we made changes and we finalized it. So,
This should be really simple, like Mike said. Present it to them and say, put this together like you did with the rest of them, same language and everything, and,
Yeah.
and bring it to us.
all right.
That's all I'm asking.
All right, any other discussion? Got a motion on the floor? All right, hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion passes. Robert, you're up.
You can go real quick if you wanna.
Do you want to get the sanitation thing for that draw?
I was gonna get to it when
Oh,
I
I gotta get to it, okay, all right.
yours might be, you wanna follow? All right, go ahead.
I'll let him go ahead.
All right, okay,
I'll
Andrew,
try to
you're
make
up.
mine quick.
What page do you want?
Andrew is not in the book,
Okay.
and, I know I didn't mind keeping keeping you here, cause you're usually here to the end.
Yeah, I'll do that anyway.
So,
I'll try to make it as quick as I can. All right, so, what we got here is our year-to-date data for 2024. Starting at the top, citations are at 1723, arrest, 602, charges that go along with those arrests is at 1578. Collisions in the county were at 315, that is injury and non-injury, 3 fatals in the county for this year. Domestic disturbances were at 311. That's kind of a wide variety of different disturbance calls. Suicide, attempt, or threat were at 36. We've had 83 theft complaints, 19 stolen autos, 130 plus DUIs for the year. Traffic stops were at 2884. Drug charges from traffic stops were at 233 plus, and the plus for that is anytime we get a traffic stop, we get some drugs, we're taking that information, doing on that investigation, and that might turn into a search warrant at a residence for someone that struck traffic. But 233 of those is traffic stop related drug seizures. A couple of calls for service were at 7,076 for the year. This is some images of our drug seizures. You'll see a lot of crystal meth. That's all that's here around the shelf on the TV screen. But a lot of crystal meth. Go ahead and go to the next slide. Blue pills down here in the lower bottom. That's like your fentanyl pills. Cocaine. This was a very large seizure. It's finally starting to wrap up in a federal court. That's, I don't know, I'd venture to say it's a couple thousand fentanyl pills that came out of the county. These 3 firearms are associated with an active case. This is what guys are, or these thieves are packing when we're dealing with them at night, stealing cars, breaking in cars, that sort of thing. The Glock there at the top, you see a little gold box in the back there, that's a Glock switch, that makes that pistol fully auto. An AK style pistol there, I'm not so sure on that. And you have the other pistol there with the flashlight and the red dot optic. Communication cable theft that we had on Facebook here just a while back. We've had a lot of allergies in the county as far as the communication cables. The thieves were cutting from like pole to pole, anywhere from 100 feet to 500 feet of line. Flock was a big contributor to solving this case. That's our suspect vehicle there. Top corner. Now that's not the full image, just to do the investigation, trying to not to show too much. That's just a clip of it. And then the bottom center picture there, that's the wire itself after it's been cut. I couldn't imagine putting all that back together. Probably make a preacher cuss, but that's the cable there. So that's pending court. The DARE program, I think this Friday will be our second graduation, so we'll be at around 300 kids graduating from the DARE program. It's been very successful. It's pretty neat to go this last one here at Spencer Elementary. It was a lot of smiling faces, and the kids were very excited to get the rewards and all that and see Peon Spencer. Kevin Stallings was awarded the Governor's Award for impaired driving with 60 DUIs. So 60 of 130 plus DUIs were obtained by him on night shift. That's our Kentucky Ops map data for 2024. That's pretty much everything that's gone into Kentucky Ops, whether it be minus NIVERS, whatever reason they didn't populate NIVERS in that. That's your call responses, citations, collisions, courtesy notices. NIVERS is, yeah, there it is. We missed it earlier. Yeah, the white emblem's NIVERS, and that's a case report, so get a theft or something in that nature. Good request, JC3s, missing persons, so on. Okay, court security, we just had a recent assessment done by AOC. So we felt like we was running very short in court, and we were maxed out as far as our amount we could have to get reimbursed. So they came out and did the assessment, and they basically told us we was grossly understaffed. So they're giving us up to, what is it, 27 part-time positions. Now, of course, we're not going to fill 27 positions, but they're going to reimburse us now up to 27 additional. Their guidelines is having 3 per metal detector, which of course we have 3 over here. We've got 2 in circuit, 1 in district. They want at least 2 people in the courtrooms at all times, 1 person monitoring the video camera station, and then 1 for moving prisoners and inmates, and 1 supervisor. And that's going to help us out with the budget, because Marlene's our current full-time supervisor. With this new assessment, she will be reimbursed 100% for her $15 rate. Whether court's in session or not, there's always going to be someone on the back stronger in district court. So she could be over here in the office helping Sharon, and we'll still be drawing reimbursement on her as a lead. Anything else you got that? This is the proposed pay scale increase for patrol deputies. We're kind of looking at, this is some numbers from surrounding counties. We're currently at the 27 mark right there. And you can see down the line where Shelby, Nelson, Odom, Jefferson, Bullitt are. It's not matching dollar for dollar, but at least trying to keep it competitive, somewhat competitive, so not let everybody get too far ahead of us.
Yeah, just to be clear, looking at that, right now, you don't have any kind of increase whether you're there 2 years or 15 years, correct?
Correct. Basically, we've just been trying to survive, catch up, stay somewhat caught up with the surrounding counties. It's just, there's been a whole lot, I don't know, like past 5 years, there's been a lot of raises given all these surrounding counties, and we're just trying to keep up, and the market's getting very competitive. I think a big issue we're gonna start seeing, and we're never gonna be able to compete with it, but Jefferson County's gotten so competitive within itself. Like St. Matthews is offering like $80,000 free family insurance, and they got 7 applicants. 7 applicants, so. Now, those type of agencies are gonna start going out into the rural areas where, you know, they could get like a $15, $17 raise. We're never gonna be able to compete with that, but I would like to at least see us stay semi-competitive with our neighbors. So we're not stealing from each other quite as much. Grants and donations, Gary, Sinise. Gary Sinise, he's Lieutenant Dan, off Forrest Gump Foundation. We put in a grant with him for medical supplies. We've worked on a grant, it's under review for Panasonic to get all new computers and computer labor equipment. We've also spoke with the Kentucky Office Highway Safety. We'll apply for that in January, and that's for the federal overtime. That wouldn't go into effect until July, I believe. October. Yep. So that's for federal overtime, like the DUI campaigns and click ticket campaigns and stuff like that, where we'll get reimbursed for officers working that type of traffic details. Our body armor grant is completed. We ended up with 9 brand new vests. They're roughly around $1,000 a piece. No, go ahead, I don't have it yet, but I don't have one to really show you. Pending donations, can't say what agencies we're speaking with. It's, we're still working on it, but we're looking at possibly a transport van donated to us and a fully equipped patrol car with the TARS. But all the details yet as far as which agencies those are. They're looking at donating those to us. Okay.
Thank you for the.
Thank you. Yep.
Good information. All right.
One thing I will add, just
Yeah, Corey.
aside, I know they definitely keep us busy in district court, and in our 2 Fridays that we've been in district court this month, we've had 9 DUIs on the 6th at Pled, and then 7 more last Friday. And I think probably all 16 was from the sheriff's office, so they're definitely staying busy.
Probably 14 of them, or 15 of them were falling.
Yeah, with the governor's award, so I know they've done a tremendous job on that.
Good deal.
Thank you, Andrew.
Keeping us safe. All you guys. Here's another one. All right, Robert, you're up. So keeping us safe.
Good job there, Deputy Song.
Well,
the medical equipment proposal.
Yeah, number 3, page 72. Y'all need a break? Roll on? All right. Yeah, 8:23, so we're doing pretty good. Go ahead. Nobody wants that one.
I think the proposal starts.
73.
Yeah.
Oh,
All right.
So we're coming to you with a proposal for equipment. I know y'all have it for packets, I don't know where you want me to start with it.
Well, tell me what the proposal is.
Well, the proposal would be
medical equipment replacement plan.
well, I got that, to replace.
Is it over a certain amount of years?
It is.
Okay.
What we would do is we would replace all of our cardiac monitors, CPR devices, get 2 new AEDs, and then we would be able to include our stretcher maintenance. We would get a maintenance plan on our stair chairs that we don't have right now that we really need. And put everything under one company umbrella. I know that the cost per year over 6 years is kind of expensive. But when you look at what we're already paying out every year already for some of these maintenance contracts and such. We're looking at probably about a $90,000 difference.
Savings or?
Increase. But with our anticipated increase in mileages and collections, I anticipate that that's gonna cover that additional cost. So what this does is we have 3 aging monitors now that are getting close to needing to be replaced. Our current CPR devices, we bought those refurbished a long time ago. Those are getting close to needing to be replaced. We're not able to get service contracts on those because they were bought refurbished. We've already had to send one of those off for repair. That was about $3,000 last year to repair. We're looking at probably about $10,000 to $12,000 in battery replacement over the next year or two. That's going to have to be done. With this new current proposal, all our battery replacements covered. So we have that savings there. I guess, what questions do you have?
My question is, what's the urgency of doing this tonight versus next month or
The urgency tonight is speaking with Stryker. They're kind of pushing this plan out with all the local agencies. I think Bullitt County's going with it, not Washington went with it. I think Nelson County's looking at it. All the Jefferson County departments are looking at it. If we don't move forward with something by the end of the year with their price increases, we're looking at an additional $73,000 a year to do this exact same plan. So, kind of where we're at.
I think, this is a strong I think, but I think I said, at the last meeting I asked, I said, we was talking about the ambulance, do you foresee more equipment replacements and things going bad and this, that, and other?
To put the new ambulance in service, no. This is going to be replacing all our current equipment. This is not any additional equipment or anything like that. This is.
Well,
This is upkeep on what we currently have.
not directly towards you, but we just went on the hook for an ambulance for over 200,000 whenever it comes in, right?
No, we haven't voted for that yet.
Yeah, we did.
No, well, we
put it out for
bids. We voted to get bids.
Well, I'm pretty sure that this court is gonna go with one of those bids, because it takes, 3 years to get one. We can pretty much anticipate, you can guarantee that we're gonna spend some significant money. I have concerns that over the first 2 years of our tenure here, we had to spend a lot of money to bring things kind of up to par from where previous courts, not against you, Jim, didn't spend a lot of money and some things fell off by the wayside. But ARPA money came to an end. We still have a lot of things that we want to try to accomplish as a court. The animal shelter is going to go over budget. You got a pavilion that you're looking at. Ray Jewel 2.0, you're going to want to do something with that. We spent a exuberant amount of money with the road department. We're going to talk about some more tonight. I don't think that we're prepared to look at this and make a decision tonight on $500,000.
Agreed.
I think we need to sit and think about, would it be better to replace things on a case-by-case incident rather than go on the hook for $500,000 right off the bat, spread out over the course of 6 months. No offense to you, Robert, because I know that this makes things easy. You contract with one company and they take care of it. Oh yeah, we'll take care of this, take care of that, whatever, and we make sure you're all good to go. But, man, we gotta start as a court penny pinching when we can. If it's not, if it's a necessity, we need it right now, then we have to handle whatever we do to make sure everybody stays safe and things are running. But this is a hard pill to swallow.
Well, let me just say, of that annual payment, that payment doesn't begin until July of 2026. So we're basically getting a year of savings.
But I'm agreeing with what Mike's saying, and, you know, what about the equipment that you have now on your vehicles that still has an extended life on it, that we're gonna replace that?
The
What are we
FD
gonna do with that equipment? We're gonna surplus it,
You know,
or how's that gonna happen?
part of this plan is Stryker is gonna buy all our equipment from us, and it comes off the total price,
And have they given you a price on what they're gonna give you for that?
$122,000, and that's what comes off the total price of all the new equipment.
Are these numbers figuring with that 122,000 off of them
Yes.
already?
And then that monitor payment that we still have for 2 years at $17,000 a year, they're going to absorb that. So we would not have that payment for the next 2 years also.
I'm in agreement with Mike. I think we should just, stay with what we've got now and replace the equipment as we need it. And not go with that big expense.
I mean, one thing that, I know you mentioned that we did change the mileage that we're going to charge, that would generate additional funds. I feel, I wanna make sure that we have enough to keep our third truck on the road. And I think those funds will need to go to that before they go to a program like this. So,
My job is to present these things to you,
yeah,
show you where we're at. I just know that within the next 1 to 3 years, I mean, we're gonna have about $305,000 worth of equipment that's gonna,
You know, I've been on this board for 6 years now, and every year, EMS director comes and wants to replace heart monitors, CPR machines, and we've agreed to do that. You know, it's gonna be constant, it's not gonna change. We're gonna be replacing equipment every year.
the FDA has a recommended life replacement on medical equipment. It's like that across the board. We're just getting near the end of our life expectancy on a lot of our equipment. It's gonna be a hefty expense.
Well, I think my point was, I don't know how much extra we're paying by signing like this big contract. I mean, based off what you just said, you know, next 3 to 5 years, you're gonna look to replace $305,000 worth of equipment, or we can do this and spend $494,000.
Well, it also encompasses all of our service contracts that we are already paying. So that comes off that total. It looks like a big number, but when you take what we're already paying anyway every year, and
What is
take
the
it off.
cost of our current maintenance contracts? Is that on here? I just don't see it. or-
Yeah, we're paying about $12,000 to Stryker
Oh, I
a
see.
year.
And eliminates $12,000 maintenance.
So you take the $12,000 payment we're doing already, $17,000 heart monitor payment for the next 2 years. Probably about $8,000-9,000 a year in batteries we have to replace. It adds up.
I'll make a motion that we lay this agenda item on the table.
Second.
All right, we have a motion to lay it on the table by myself, seconded by Jim. This is neither debatable nor amendable, I believe, so we'll go ahead and vote. All those in favor of laying this on the table, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion passes. All right, next, Robert, on page 83, the personnel.
Yes. Joe Goodland has obtained his advanced EMT certification, so his pay will need to be approved to be increased from $15.70 to $17.20.
Motion to approve Joe Goodlet's pay from hourly rate of $5.70 to $17.20 per hour.
1570. Yeah, okay.
Let me get wrong, sorry.
Motion by Mike, seconded by Zach, to approve Joe Goodlet, since he has his advanced EMT, raise his pay from $15.70 to $17.20. Any discussion? All right, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion passes. On the same sheet, which Robert is our EM director, and I'll go ahead and we'll do this in the form of a motion, but I would recommend that we appoint Rob Renner to Deputy Emergency Management Director, Corey Razor also to a Deputy EM, and then James Vandervalls to EM staff. There'll be no pay increases, but that way we'll have someone if Robert is offline.
Second.
So, all right, I'll put that in the form of a motion to make those appointments, and a second by Jim. All right, any other discussion? All right, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion passes. Thank you, Robert.
Oh, there's
Go ahead.
two more things. The hyperreach program that we
Yes,
have, the
that we
national
talked about
education
the other
system.
day, yes.
Apparently they increased the rates on us quite a bit. I think it's went from, we were paying like 4 or something, now they're trying to say it's gonna be over 7,000 a year now.
Y'all remember that's the alarms that's supposed to be on our phones? Are you all getting those?
No.
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 I'm gonna have to cancel that, because I don't know what kind of benefit we're getting.
Yeah.
I get, sometimes I'll get, like, what do they call those alerts?
Amber alerts?
Amber alerts.
Those
or-
things,
Was
yeah.
that the hyper reach, or is that just go
I
out
think
there?
that might just be through my
I've
T-Mobile.
never received anything since we instituted that program.
I haven't.
I have, others, every alert they send out.
Any alert you get, you already get through AT&T, if you have an AT&T phone. At
The
least
only alerts you don't get is the local alerts.
When's that gonna go up?
What, do you think we need that?
I found another program that is
No.
cheaper.
That's what's probably the reason.
I'm getting ready to do a demo
I
with
think
them.
everyone in the county's gonna have that.
Kind of program they come up with us.
So
So,
when's the contract to be renewed on that?
you know what that,
I guarantee you that.
February, March, February, March.
See, we did that other one back in 23,
Yeah.
and I'm with these guys.
Well, see,
I
I think
don't want it at all, because I don't know that I get it either.
Well, I think the problem is you gotta get the general public to sign on, download an app and sign themselves up. And if you're only getting, you know, if you got 25,000 residents in the county and only 500 people are signing up, is it worth it?
Well, now, whenever we voted to do that, I thought we put in the motion to send it out with, I think, with the water bill or something. I think we just need to do that. I mean, it's not gonna be something you can do one time. And I think it'll get through people's heads.
It might have, I can't contest it.
Well, what about, let's get that fella, or lady, whomever, to come and, I know they're gonna speak to you.
Well, I mean, I was gonna ask y'all, I mean, I can tell them to come to a fiscal court
The
meeting
way
and do their
that-
presentation here.
That thing works, so like, just so everybody's clear on it. Your local alerts, you have to have that app downloaded. Now then, whenever they push out, national, federal people, whatever, push out a big thing, everybody gets it, no matter what, you get it regardless. But the local alerts, like when they close the road down or whatever, that's, I mean, right there.
What's the, have you already heard the pitch from the new?
I have not,
I don't think the county downloads it.
But
I have not, but, you know,
I
I'm
don't
just,
guess I did.
I understand you have to have that, but you're not.
I think
it's just for the local stuff.
I'm trying to get y'all
stuff
to
he
go
wants
ahead
to push out or
and
we
move forward with
choose
this
to push
guy.
out.
Yeah, the
Here, you
national
want me
stuff,
to
though, you
present
get whether
you all,
you pay for
show
it
you
or
all
not.
what there is?
It's not
Yeah.
more.
I can go through the demo
I
and
don't
y'all
get
can
some
take it.
microwave.
So you,
I got it on my
you were
damn phone.
saying that you found another company that does the same thing as a,
In Spirion Logistics.
Well, why don't you get the spill and then present your recommendation to us? That's what we pay you as a director for. Give us your recommendation.
Go ahead, Leah.
I was just gonna say, there's been several times I asked Chris if we could put something as far as elections or something like that.
And with this, we would be able to do that. And
Not with the hyper-rich.
we could, I mean, we did it with the hyperreach also.
Well, it was very limited and I was discouraged from doing it. So it'd be nice if there were other offices that could utilize that service as well.
Let's try to, let's get more information on it.
Well, it'll be the same way, like download an app, correct?
Yes. Yeah, I mean, you have to do the app, I mean, they'll do our automated weather alerts, we'll put it on our socials.
Well, I mean, I'm just saying, no matter what you do, if y'all go with this, if we go, and I'm not saying that hyperreach is the best, but if we go with somewhere else, we're gonna have the same issue.
Right, and maybe just,
At least it'll
It'll have to be pushed out there, it'll have to
I don't
be
think-
put for everybody.
but see, even with somebody else, I agree, it might just be like, if nobody's gonna download, pay attention to it, it ain't worth us spending the money.
Well, I don't disagree with that either, but.
I don't think with them jacking the price up $2,000 or $3,000 on it, it's worth it.
But that's-
I'll have to find somebody that's.
I think the dollars is what's gonna
Yeah.
make this worthwhile.
Chris got something he could brag up, but.
So Shelby County, they use what's called Brainport. I don't know if you've seen that or not. But it's not associated with any app. They can push it out through phones and email.
So it's go directly to the carrier.
I'm not sure how it works. You'd have to talk to Chris Spalding. He's the one that runs it over there. But they would push, I would get it on my work email and my work phone. It would send out, just say road closed for 4 hours or something like that. He puts all the local.
I still get them.
Without having to do that now.
Yes.
Do you remember what that costs?
I do not. Chris Spalding is the EMA director of Shelby County, and he would be one to reach out to
I
them.
can't
Our
reach out.
he was the one that directed me towards, you saw on your desk today, the agreement we had in place with the Shelby
Yes,
County.
yes, I saw it, yeah, the MOU.
Yeah, he directed me to, he said that to me, because I didn't know it was in place. So.
All right, yeah, one more thing?
I did, a couple meetings ago, y'all told me to get with the locksmith on securing the doors and such. This is the guy that came, that I guess does all the work in the county, and to get the building up to snuff, this is what we came up with. So I put in the proper keypads, that's us being able to program separate codes for every employee.
Is this the estimate?
Yeah,
$2,374.
50 cents, yeah.
Is this the fellow that across there?
This is the guy that we always use.
Chief of Locksmith.
Motion to approve, the $2,374.50 to get the locks fixed and the building.
Second.
All right, we have a motion by Zach, seconded by Jim, to approve the bid of $23.74.50 for the cheaper locksmith to address, all the locks over at the EMS facility. I don't know what this $334, that's not tax, I hope.
No,
That's labor.
That's
no,
labor.
that's the labor
Okay.
part.
Yeah, I see it added down to there. Okay,
It's done real oddly.
yeah. This is interesting. Kinda like that guy, keep on trucking, he used to step like that.
And to throw you all a couple numbers, I mean, we're still anticipating our billing collections for the year is probably gonna be about 1.1 to 1.2 million. That's not factoring in the new mileage rates, which we won't really see a difference in those until we get the end of December reports.
So those are already in effect.
Yes, all the rates that's in effect now.
We talked about increasing that above your recommendation.
Yes,
Did we get the amount that we voted on, or did it go with your recommendation, or do you know?
the billing company said they will set it whenever we tell them. So that's what I told them, was the $16.
But, I mean, are you aware that the insurance companies are paying that rate or not, or are you getting any?
There are built-in adjustments. I mean, some of the insurances, we're only gonna be able to collect what they're contracted to pay us in that mileage. But, you know, it's trying to hit some of the ones that, a big portion of the ones that, like private insurances and auto insurances and stuff like that.
Right.
They'll pretty much pay whatever we bill. So
Okay.
we have increased it to $16 a mile now.
And it's tough making heads or tails on a lot of that. It's kinda like Stephanie was talking about earlier when we set up that ACH account. A lot of the insurance companies will pay us, and everyone's is different. You know, depending on your insurance, you gotta pay more out of pocket or less out of pocket, or you met your deductible or you haven't met your deductible. You know, there'll be ACHs, and it'll have a reference a lot of times to, it'll have a name that, you know, when you see the word Anthem, you assume that's something medical, you know, for example.
So our road value is probably gonna be up about 4 or 5%. It's looking like now, so.
But there'll be payments come in from Doug, $150 to $800. And but we don't know on the cash side exactly what that, who, you know, we don't need to know who, but we don't know how many miles that was or so forth. So,
Can you track that, how many miles versus how much?
The
you
reports
pay?
I get show what mileage we bill for that
okay,
month.
that's good.
The reports are broke down that way.
Would you have, be able to see how much you received? We can break it
I'll
down
be
per
able to tell with the December reports what kind of increase we had from the November at the old rate and December at the new rate. So we'll be able to kind of see. I mean, we average about 89,000 in what we get in collections and receipts that we actually get.
I have a question about this. You said every employee will have a different key code. Is that a key fob?
No, 4-digit code.
Oh, so you're gonna have to go in and reprogram. How are you gonna reprogram it when an employee leaves?
They told me, the gentleman told me it was like a 5-minute process to take somebody out, put somebody in. So we can do it from the keypad. So
And you're gonna learn it,
he's gonna
teach you the
Or
process.
you're gonna do it instead of having. him
I'm gonna do
it.
it, he's not coming out to do it. I will be making all the changes and adjustments to those.
One last question, just because I'm curious, over 2024, did you notice any major swings in your call volume as far as trades, like transports from the nursing home that went up or down, or anything that's drastically changed You know, car accident runs or?
We stay pretty consistent on every type of run, I guess you could say. I mean, overdoses aren't, I mean, we really don't see as many overdoses as, I mean, as you can see, by the amount of drugs that are off the street, we just don't see the overdoses. So either they're not overdosing in the county, or they're taking the Narcan home that's in the Narcan boxes, and they're using it and not having to call us.
Well, have you noticed a difference, I guess, a swing in non-life-threatening, or I mean, in non-advanced versus advanced life care runs?
Well, with our protocols and everything, that kind of varies too. We don't do as much advanced life support as we did in the past, and with the addition of advanced EMTs being able to carry the load of some of the advanced runs, we can still bill as a ALS run and not a BLS run with an advanced EMT. Now, I foresee that with the paramedic shortage, paramedics are kind of going by the wayside, to be honest with you.
So you said that advanced life support calls are probably still increasing, but you're able to cover them with more of them without having a paramedic.
Yeah, and with our additional truck that we have on, we're able to, we haven't had to call mutual aid probably a handful of times during the day. I mean, most of the time, I mean, we had to call at night, 'cause the third truck was on at 8 p.m. So, you know, we get inundated with a lot of runs in the evening after 8 o'clock, and, you know, we have to utilize mutual aid, but during the day, it's kind of almost cut it out. We haven't had to call any services over.
And we have helped other counties.
Yes, we have
with this third truck on.
So, it's working. It's revenue, it's helping us increase our collections anyway, so, yeah.
Thank you.
All right, good deal. Is that it, Robert?
That's all I got.
All right, we got that. Sanitation board, we've already discussed. Down there, the B on page.
Do we need to approve
Do the draw?
No, okay. Yeah, that is a draw, page 88 through 90. And that is, and it's listed in the equipment there that they will be getting with that draw. We'll need a motion to approve that draw, because, you know, we moved to do the other two.
Motion to approve, Kia draw number 3 for
Yeah.
$12,410.
Yep. All right, we have a motion by Mike, seconded by Dan, to approve withdrawal number 3 from KIA in the amount of $12,410. To be used, that's for the sanitation district work. Any discussion? All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion passes. Number 6, the federal,
Did you vote on the chicken locksmith?
we may not have, Lynn. Thank you.
No,
Did we?
Did they?
Did we vote on the locksmith?
I made the motion on.
You did at 8:41.
Okay.
The discussion went
Thank you, Lynn.
Thank you.
Yeah, we try to,
So we passed it though.
we passed the locksmith.
Okay.
Okay.
At 8:41.
8:41, all right,
Not that I'm keeping count.
okay. All right. Those cookies are really keeping you alert over there, Cheryl. But, all right, maybe the smell of them. All right, number 6, Fiscal card. I want to do some discussion on this. Right now, what we do, I want to get the court's opinion on it, and then if you'd like to take action, you can. It's not the end of the world if we don't, but right now, we load 6 months at a time on Fiscal card. And some of our employees with younger families ask if we would consider doing it like all at once instead of doing 2 loads. And if you think about it, we all know with young kids that you may need it, and it would help.
What's the reason behind loading 2 times a year?
Well,
Well, the biggest reason we did that probably is if employees left, they didn't spend the whole $1,200. If they left, let's say in March, they didn't spend the whole $1,200 in January through March.
We'll get it back eventually,
well, it was posed to me to ask the court to consider loading it at once. Now, granted, if an employee got the 1,200, used it all in January, and then left in March. The 1,200 will be used up and gone.
Well, I got an opinion on that. We try to do everything we can to help our employees with their insurance.
Right.
And the insurance still ain't as good as it is around neighboring and surrounding places. And,
But we're really doing better.
but we're doing a lot better, and if it would serve a lot of our younger men and women that have bigger families, then I think it's a small price for us. Just, I mean, it would benefit them 10 times more than what we would lose, I think.
Well, I mean, if they would say we quit, I mean, I'm for it too, I don't have a problem, but if they were to quit with always January $1,200 and they quit in March and they $300, they can't take, I mean.
Right, you know, when they leave, they no longer get it.
Yeah.
But, you know,
Just if you use it and then leave, you're out.
yeah, if you used it up.
So, you know,
in
600,
February,
yeah, well,
I mean, I don't know how much y'all use yours, but I use mine quite a bit, it's not like it's pretty.
well, you know,
Unless you got some kids that stay sick all the time like I do, it's pretty hard to use it up.
I think my kids look ever going out of school.
I think so too, yeah.
I've never.
But you,
Well, part of the thought is too, if you,
I use mine for like.
one employee leaves, you're gonna be paying $100 per month on the new employee that you replace with, so, you know, it's gonna be still more expensive service.
now, I do recommend, you go to the drugstore with your card, and a lot of stuff will work if you need to get some stuff before the end of the year. You know, some over-the-counter stuff,
Yeah, I mean, it works for a lot of stuff, but it's pretty.
I'll make a motion that we load the Fiscal card with full amount of $1,200 at the beginning of the year.
Second.
All right, we have a motion by Mike, second by Zach, that we, starting in January, we load the full $1,200 at the beginning of the year on federal cards. Any discussion?
Is our money budgeted to work at all at once there? Do we need to do anything about that?
We pay it as it's spent.
Okay.
So if you spent your $1,200 in January, we're gonna be spending the $1,200 in January.
So what-
If you don't spend any in January, some of the employees, we won't be spending
If
any.
you haven't been using yours, we're way ahead on you.
I'm trying to put the money back in the taxpayer's
We only
pocket.
got a couple weeks.
Yeah.
We only got 2 weeks.
I'm gonna put out $5 million.
All right,
You still got a few days to get your $600 spent up, let's put it that way.
But, you know, but I'll say,
And
you
then
know,
it'll be reloaded to 6 or 12, whatever y'all vote to decide.
and I'll say as far as, you know, county employees is concerned, you know, I made that motion with the intent of helping those that truly need it.
Yeah.
With medical expenses going up, co-pays going up, prescriptions going up. And I just ask that, you know, don't abuse the card just for the sake of abusing the card.
Yeah. Well, you know, and going along, you know, what you said, if you have an illness, or like y'all with little kids, you know, if you have a serious illness, it's easy to spend it up.
Oh, yeah.
And hopefully you wouldn't have maybe one a year, and that would help the employee get past that hard time. So, all right, any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion passes. Number 7.
Now, what do you want for it?
Rico, no additional funds at this time, Mr. Sumner.
All right, next item of business.
I think we're on page 91, right, Corey?
Yes. If you'll recall, when we hired the city vote right, it was through the end of this calendar year. We have the budgetary funds for it. We're tracking pretty close to what's been allotted versus what's been spent, so, may have to watch that in May. But, this is just to continue her approval through, her employment, through June 30th of 25, and then we'll make the budget request for our office for the next year's budget. But it's just to continue her employment.
I'll make a motion that we extend the employment of Sydney Boatwright to
The dollar amount there is wrong, it's
Yeah, it's
2250 right now.
Because when we gave the raises this year, 50 cents got on there.
Whoa, whoa. Sure you wanna withdraw that now, we get that 50 cents in there.
About it again? I'll make a motion, we extend the employment of Sydney Boatwright as part-time law assistant at $22 an hour.
$22.50.
$22.50 an hour for 25 hours per week.
Yeah, till the end of June.
till the end of June of 25.
Okay. We have a motion on the floor, is there a second?
2025.
Whoever.
Motion by Jim, seconded by Dan, to approve the employment of Cindy Boatright, part-time law clerk for $22.50 an hour, not to exceed 25 hours a week, and that it be through the duration of our fiscal year, which ends at the end of June 25.
Sounds good.
All right, any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion passes. All right, equipment update, Zach.
So the surplus property, we allocated it sold last Saturday. I picked a check up for that today, or today, over at the judge's office. The total on it was $16,010. The commission we paid, I think we brought a check home $14,079.
14 something.
Yeah, so, that's the update on that. The backhoe, so that's been a hot topic, we'll just want to keep talking about that. Me and Will went Thursday and went down to Cat and looked at it, they brought things in the pipe bill, checks out. Somewhere between the time it got that pipe bill and got to where it is now, it's got a new set of tires in the back end of it, nobody knows how it happened. So I'm not gonna say anything, they're not gonna say
Those
anything.
dang vandals.
Yeah.
They stole them, put new ones.
Yeah. Me and him looked it over pretty good right there a while, and, we found one little line rub in there fixing that. I couldn't find anything wrong with it. It's 2021 model, not 2015 model at the top. That's the quote for the purchases of it. We've got it set up to a lease agreement. I got it set up to a 12-month lease agreement at $2,520 per month, with 100% of the rent payment applied to the cost of the machine. By doing the 12-year, it kind of increased the money up to $76,260, but that's just if we want to draw it out for the full year. My recommendation would be to pay it up till July, maybe August possibly, and budget in our budgeting process to do a payout plan. Once we do that, John's talked to me, told me that, whatever interest we pay, go through these payments will be paid back on. Also, by doing this, I'm not going to go with the extended warranty, we'll keep the one it's got, and we'll go with the purchase, we can talk about the extended warranty again.
What if we did the rent on, lease on, whatever, until the same time when the warranty runs out, and that way we can discuss if we want to purchase,
It will cover past when the warranty runs out. You see, the warranty is 9/22/25.
right?
Our lease will be, if we bought it today, would be 12/16/2025.
Yeah.
Well,
So, I mean, you're just talking about a couple months, I think, surely
Okay.
by then we would have the
I'm good
decision
with
made.
12 months, and me and you talked, and of course, I like the idea of it being a 2021 machine, a lot more I like it being a 2015 machine.
Interest free.
Yeah.
Yeah, just to point out what Zach said, that 12 months, if we say the figured interest in that $6,000 with the bank, if we pay it off in 6 months, we'll get $3,000 credited.
Right.
Which that's not the exact numbers, just for an example.
Well, what I'd like, I've been an advocate on this, is like, I don't, my position has been, I don't know if they use it enough. My question is, are they gonna use it enough to justify ownership? But I will say this, what I'd like to do is I'll support this for 12 months, but I think we ought, at the end of the 12 months, we ought to reevaluate how many hours was put on the machine and how much the road department uses it. And if it don't justify spending the remainder of the balance to own the thing, then we'll turn it back in.
I don't really see that really happening after we've had it for a year, regardless how many hours, but they use it somewhat, and I would just say they're probably saying, we need it, and we'll keep it. I understand what you're saying.
Well, I've been on the fence on it both ways, buy it, not buy it, buy it, not buy it. The biggest thing is that we've seen, especially in the term that we've been in, the tobacco that we've had is unreliable. And I think that's the biggest thing to it. is, didn't use it, they used it on a need to basis. I think once we get this machine in here, like a skid steer.
They used a lot.
They'll burn it up. So,
Well, just,
I think that's gonna be the thing.
I'll look at, I agree. I mean, I understand what you said. I just want to err on the side of caution. If they drive it for a year, or they use it for a year, and they say, you know what? We didn't use it as much as we thought, and there's 60,000 left to buy the thing, then you might say, well, we'd rather put that 60,000 towards another skid steer or a mini excavator instead of go back.
Well, then, I think, what you're saying is, if we do this, then we get the engine hires on it when we, get it, and then 12 months from now, and make sure Todd knows what that is, and say, what's the engine hires?
I just like that, I wouldn't advertise that, it might be a lot of hours. Just let it roll, we can look, we know how many hours is on it.
Would that be digging up for the?
Well, and with this goes too, we need to spend about $3,000 after this, because this has got an IT bucket, quick attach, and we need to spend roughly $3,000 to buy some forks for it, and be real handy for them up there.
I'm just saying, I just say at the end of the 12 months, to say, all right, guys, there's X amount of dollars to pay this off. Do you want the backhoe, or do you want to apply that towards whatever else you need now? Because there'll be something else that they need when the time rolls around.
We'll have that option, won't we?
Yeah,
I mean, we'll have that option, whether to decide whether we want to buy it or not, or send it back.
We'll get it first of the year, in 2 weeks, next time we'll form the project, and we'll stick, we should have seen whatever, that can be took like the cat.
I just,
Don't want no valve.
the only reason why I said this, I was just.
I mean, it's not, we're not signing something saying that we're buying this. We are just saying that we're agreeing to what they've got proposed here, paying $2,520 per month.
Monthly at a time.
Yeah, at least,
We
if
can
you
get
decide
out of
to
it.
buy it, it's applied towards the purchase.
The whole purpose of my statement was just to say, I was just asking the court to keep an open mind if our needs change at the end of the 12 months versus paying this off, we can apply the money to whatever the current need is, it's more, maybe more important than owning the backhoe, we address that at that time.
What I see us doing is renting it, at least till the next budget, and then we can look about working it for sure, work it into the budget to where we can, just buy it right out, buy it outright.
Lease it to the sewer company.
Okay. Well, I'll make a motion that,
Go ahead.
Before we do that, so right now, till we get to the next budget, we gotta put a little bit of money around to make this work if we're gonna agree with this, so. The fourth, and maybe $1 or $2, I forgot to look at the check, but the $14,079 that we got from the sale, correct me if I'm wrong, is to be put into the general fund, and then we can transfer that out of the general fund into the new equipment and rentals line item.
We haven't seen a check at all yet. So
Oh,
I got the
it's-
check for it.
Yeah, it's over.
So I dropped it off today.
We got the check.
It wasn't there when I checked this afternoon.
Okay. Well, it's there.
I brought it down there, I dropped it off, and I give it to Brittany.
Brittany.
Yeah, Brittany.
I
Anyway,
asked Brittany about it, and she couldn't find it. I said,
It's
I
on,
saw the sheet over there
Yeah.
with the printout, but
it's on Karen's desk. I saw
Zach, are
it.
you lying?
I saw it tonight.
Are you
No,
lying?
it's there.
make a motion.
It's there.
but anyway, we gotta transfer that money over to make this all work out. All we have to do, when we put that money in there, is, transfer another $3,561 out of the FEMA, match line over in there.
Doug to make the money work.
Yeah, so, I was just trying to figure it
we
out.
got about $10,000 right now in, new equipment.
Well, and I wanted to leave that money in there in case we had something else come up.
We can make a payment today if we need to, we'll do a transfer next
What
time.
do we need to make money for?
We can make a transfer any.
Why do we need that much money for right now?
We gotta bring it over to the first of the year, to the new fiscal year.
You went to high school.
We got-
We still gotta pay the monthly payments,
You gotta have that in a line item, budgeted item. So,
or the monthly payments.
Yes. Yeah, we got, when you make a commitment,
you gotta have it budgeted.
it's the same as almost having money.
I agree, I was making sure there wasn't some down payment or something.
Zach, you-
You're on this ball.
All right, I'll make a motion to, do business with Chat on the 2021 Cat 420 for the, RTO lease rent to own option of $2,520 per month. option that rent being applied, and do those transfers. I need to say that in that motion, to transfer that 14,000 out of the general fund over into the,
And we can do that part separate.
alright, that's fine.
Second.
I already have a motion by Zach, seconded by Will, to do a rent to own,
And if y'all wanna see them, that's the service records and machine.
to do a rent to own on a Caterpillar 420 backhoe, year 2021, with a monthly rent of $2,520. And that it could be, that all it would be applied up to 12 months, if and when we choose to purchase it. Is that it?
I got a quick question. So all the equipment we sold at Joel's, road equipment? Okay, I mean, I thought it was.
Yeah, I'll make sure of that. I'll
I
make
mean,
sure.
I checked to go to the road fund.
They
I
didn't
just
have
want to make
anything
sure.
else to go up there, but, yeah.
All right.
Sometimes, I mean, the park's got some of the
Yeah, but we didn't
similar
take
equipment or,
Yeah.
I'll go from the road department.
Yeah.
All right. All right, so we got a motion and a second on the floor, to go with the cat backhoe. Any other discussion? I appreciate everybody putting work in on that. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion passes. I'm gonna skip number 2, go to number 3, and Hagan Engineering. And they, I've been having, and I've shared with you guys some of my emails, just for information only, that I wanna get the site plan where we can give to a builder, and they can bid on getting it built. And we had discussion last meeting, and we kinda liked that option 3, that included potentially hooking onto the road up there by Country Mark. I asked them to just delete that completely off, and because we can do that anytime. So that way he can go ahead and get this part done, where we can give it to a builder and get some bids. So, I don't know,
Did you ever email them back?
yeah, we emailed a couple
You
times.
just may do the site plan for the parking lot and the building, we'll worry about the entrance light.
We're worried about the entrance on 55 later.
That's what, yeah.
Yeah,
So okay, the option 3 was to put, all right, we got a turning lane that goes into Country Mark now. We're talking about adding another lane that goes in parallel with that one into our property. Is that what Hagan's going?
well,
I'm gonna put no entrance in.
no entrance at all on 55 right now.
So what they're gonna do, I'll read you what they said there. So what Hagan has told, sent out to the, it says that, they're gonna leave it in there, but this will, they'll let the builders know, I have it already there, but let me see what it says there. As the 55 connection, we can just show that as a feature by others. This will let the builders know it's their responsibility if this layout is acceptable, blah, blah, blah.
Now, I did ask that, Jim, you already got it in here. But basically, all of this will be out of the site plan. This will be in, this will be in.
Do you think we need Hagan to put that option 3 on paper and see if the state would approve that, so we'll know down the road? if
Well,
we can approve that?
we can do that at any time. I don't wanna hold up getting this bid. Because we gotta have the site plan, and he's gotta put the,
So where's the entrance gonna be?
okay, down here, and right here.
Yeah, but we don't have a road down there yet.
But we
ain't got to do
we
it.
are. We are, we will.
We have to
Again,
have
we
it
can
known
do-
by August or-
We can do this anytime. And, we've already inquired about, and they did some saying, we might have to put a turn lane, it's probably gonna cost 150, 300,000. I'm afraid that if we get in the weeds on that, it's gonna keep kicking us down the road, and it's gonna make this so pricey, we won't be able to even do that.
I agree.
I agree.
You need a motion on this?
No, shouldn't need a
So they're not
motion.
finished the site plan.
Yes, we've already ordered the site plan, so,
Right.
but that's why I wanted to share what I told
So
him.
where do we stand now? What's the next step?
The way right now is they are making the site plan, and it'll basically be this, option 3, but it won't have any entrance on 55. It'll have the entrance back here somewhere. And
So they'll have
have this
probably that
entrance.
done at our next meeting.
Well, we can have
Yeah.
whatever entrance is approved later.
Yes. At any moment, we can approach the state and say, hey, what about this, this, and this, while the people are bringing the shop in and unloading it right there.
Do you think that may be prudent for us to do that?
What's that?
To contact the state and say, get Hagan to, get in touch with the state, say, well, okay, will another entrance parallel with.
You could do both of them simultaneously.
Is that okay with the state?
Well, yeah, I'm not against doing that, but I just don't want another obstacle.
No, that has nothing to do
Obstructing.
with bidding it,
Yeah.
just so we'll know.
Yeah,
I mean,
we can do that.
we can go on it ourselves and contact the state and say we want to do it.
Well, I'd rather see Hagan do it since they're doing the site plan.
I'm just saying, all you gotta do is simple as that, you can call up there and say, I wanna do a encroachment permit, I wanna see what that's gonna look like, if they're gonna allow us to do it. They're gonna come out, they're gonna say, this is what you gotta do, this is where you gotta put it at, and that's the end of it. Then you take that information to Hagan.
Right.
They can go on ahead and get their engineering, their plan, the civil plan done, it'll be done out of the way over with.
Right,
If
but if
whatever that entrance is, wherever that's allocated, that will be plugged into what Hagan's already got.
But if we approach the state with an idea, instead of the state approaching us with, this is what you have to do, you know, it might be beneficial for us to do that.
And we could do that. And I mean, what I see is doing us, a couple of us, and Hagan, and the state people. What's that one lady, Elizabeth Yowart, I think maybe is her name, I probably pronounced that wrong, but, you know, Keith King can do the ag entrances on states, but then this other lady.
He ain't even doing it no more.
She
He
does.
don't do it, nobody does. He's never done it. He's on the permanent engineer.
Oh, on ag?
Yeah.
Well,
They're always on the road, buddy. You can call, I did the same thing when I looked at doing the Driscoll things up there, putting in all that good flaw. There's nothing to it. You know, all they're gonna do is come out, they're gonna do the road study, they're gonna see what the traffic looks like, how it flows, they're gonna tell you how close you are to this, or how close you are to that, and this is where you can plug in at. That's all Hagen's gonna do, but the difference is between us doing it and Hagen doing it is, we're not paying Hagen.
yeah.
Well, they've been pretty gracious.
Well, I think we ought to
just
do
added
that. I think we ought to approach the state and say, can we do this option three?
Yeah.
You know, and that way, we'll know down the road, after the bids out on things, if we can do it or not, and we.
Yeah. Yeah, just, you know, I wanted to get this done so we can move on with
I
this.
agree.
Let me move forward with that. All right, okay, number 2, marijuana resolution.
So,
And I don't have the page numbers, sorry about that.
96.
96.
All right, thank you.
This is what was, I believe, adopted, was proposed at the Kentucky Sheriff Association, my understanding, and then has also been adopted as a template for several other counties. I know Logan County is one of them. And it's a resolution regarding use of marijuana with or without a prescription by employees of Spencer County in response to the medicinal cannabis legislation. Obviously, there's going to be on January 1st. It's going to start the process of medicinal cannabis. This is to amend the personnel policy. It's actually to reaffirm the drug-free, drug and alcohol workplace policy, Chapter 7 of the personnel policy. Also prohibiting the use of marijuana, whether it be recreational or medicinal, by county employees. So that proposal is in front of you all. If you have some
I got
questions if there are.
on the second page, page 99, number 2, the use of marijuana or medicinal marijuana with or without is prohibited.
Yes.
Is that prohibited for county employees?
Yes.
Okay, I got a problem with that, because, you know, this passed statewide. Now, if every county in the Commonwealth does the same thing we do, then what good is that law, you know, for all those employees, you know? I mean, it seems to me like it's a kind of a form of discrimination, that, you know, our county employees can't use. I'm gonna apply for a medicinal card because of my PTSD, okay? Now, am I an employee? No, but if I were, you know, that lets me out. I'm prohibited. I don't agree with that. You know, if it's passed through the state and it went through all that process, and then we at the county level say, no, you can't do it.
I just think, I think this is just applied to like, they can't use it at work. Well, that's how it reads?
That's not how it reads.
Yeah, that's not really,
But if they do it,
It says it's prohibited.
have a bad drug test and
Right.
it falls back on us.
Well, you get into the weeds of, so a county employee gets in a car wreck, and I'm no lawyer or nothing, but a bad car wreck and there's a lawsuit, whatever happens, and they get drug tested, you know, this don't matter that it's passed to the state, or even if it's with work or not work related, and you're under the influence of marijuana, you're gonna be
It's the
prosecuted.
same thing as drinking on the job, and, I mean, you gotta be wise about what you're doing, so.
Well, the hard part is you can't actively test right then and there, you know, you were high yesterday, you're gonna fail a drug test tomorrow.
But in, like, along with Jim, so if I have a prescription for, for Oxycontin or something, okay, which I don't, but I can take it, I just can't take it at work. So, where it's gonna impair me at work, and there's nothing that the employer can really say about it as long as I'm not impaired at work. Because it's a legal prescription.
right.
I can fire you for a good reason, bad reason, or morally impossible reason.
Well, yeah, that's
It's not a
true,
legal
but
reason.
I'm
Yeah,
saying
that's
that-
all I'm
That
saying.
ain't what we're talking about.
Let's not go down that road.
Hell no.
But, so if medical marijuana is legal and you wanna use it at home, as long as you're not impaired when you're at work, then I don't see why it should matter.
Well, you know, and I think if we go that route, we need to have wording in here that states that. You know, this is a legal prescription, you just can't use it when you're working.
Well, I think it says here, it says,
All right, so-
nothing in this chapter shall.
Well, and then you get to the point of how are you going to monitor that? If you're not smoking at work, what if you smoke right before?
Well, this is
your
not
5 minutes?
smoking now, this is not
Well,
smoking.
let's say you consume
Drug
it,
test don't matter if you
regardless.
smoke it, eat it,
Yeah,
drink it,
that's
show up the
that's a
same.
good point with the medicinal marijuana, and for those listening, if anybody's still there, it is not combustible.
No.
But the point is, if you consume it, you know, the consumption and impairment rate, so if you consume it, when you combust it, your impairment is higher initially, whereas if you consume it, like the medicinal marijuana, it'll be longer before the effects hit. So, you know, you could have 90 minutes before you leave for work, you can consume it, and then you'd be impaired on the workplace. The question on the county side is how they want to, or how you want to, go about ensuring that they aren't impaired on the job.
That's a loaded question. I think the danger is it's still illegal federally to test positive for
I think the
marijuana,
danger
right?
is there's no way to test if you're actively impaired. I mean, you can get a field sobriety test, but there's no test out there that I'm aware of to say, I was high right now and act just like I was, how could you guys test me?
Well,
If I'm just
generally,
sitting-
you're only
It goes to the lab, it takes a while.
generally, you're only getting tested if you're in an accident or if you're just really impaired and doing inappropriate things or something at work, then they'll send you to be tested. And then if you're under the influence then, doesn't matter when you took it, if you're under the influence then and you were in an accident or
That's my
or
only
whatever,
concern.
then you can be terminated for that. And,
You know, wasn't this put on amendment for the citizens of the Commonwealth to vote on? Yes or no? Wasn't that on the ballot?
no, it
This
wasn't.
part
wasn't.
This part was, the legislator
I'm just
passed
gonna
it.
say that, my 2 cents on it is whether it's prescribed or not. The majority of it, well, pretty much every employee that works for the county either drives county vehicles, they operate county equipment, they're working in, public roadways, sometimes doing dangerous things, and I think it would be, whether it's prescribed or not, I think it would be, make us completely liable, and it would be asinine for us to allow somebody to be a county employee, whether it's prescribed or not, to have that in their system because all of them are either operating vehicles or they're operating heavy equipment, and you can't, I don't think that is a barrel of fish that we want to put ourselves into.
Well, the legal issue is, it's law, but you can have it, it's prescribed. Now, I think that is something that the county would have a backup on their side.
I mean, there's
If it went to,
100 drugs out there that are gonna impair you, whether you're driving or operating equipment, and none of them are, the only thing that is illegal about it is if you're impaired at work. It's up to
The language from
it's up to the employee to determine, do I wanna take this risk or not?
Right, the language from KRS 218B 040. Employers are not required to permit or accommodate use. Nothing in this chapter shall prohibit an employer from implementing policies promoting workplace health and safety by restricting the use of medical cannabis by employees. So
the statute does say
the
that
statute
it
says
can
that
be
employers
prohibited.
are not prohibited from putting a restriction.
As an employee, we can still keep our same drug policy.
Right.
And if you test positive for marijuana, we would follow the normal policy that we did 6 months ago.
The question is whether the court wants to adopt a resolution to make specific reference to the new medicinal cannabis law.
Well, just in Jim's defense, do you take, with what you're saying, do you take narcotics in there too?
Well, the thing is, if right now, if they're involved in an accident or whatever, and we drug test them and they're hot for, oxycodone or whatever.
If it's prescribed.
If they're still, there's a whole list of things, and he knows what I'm talking about, there's a whole list of things, whether it's prescribed, just because it's prescribed doesn't mean that having it in your system makes you not under the influence.
What I think you should have, what I think you should have done is
It's called per se.
They can look at the amount that's in your system.
They can do with marijuana.
They can do with marijuana also.
Listen to here, I'm making a good, I think I'm making a good point, that Cheryl and Corey was, there is a list of these drugs that if you have them in your system, and some of them are prescription, if you have them, it's per se that you're under the influence. There's no, you don't have to prove it.
People that had fentanyl patches that were prescribed.
Methadone's one,
Prescribed doesn't mean
Suboxone's
you're
one.
driving.
I mean, okay, I don't, we get our insurance from CAECO. If two of our employees are working side by side in whatever instance, and one employee accidentally hits the other and knocks him out, both of those are gonna go get drug tested, both employees. Just like, an accident on the road, you back over somebody, both are gonna get drug tested. Okay, if one of them came up positive with a prescription for medical marijuana, what do you two think that CAECO would say to us?
That's not a decision for us to make. We don't know
Well,
if that's insuring.
Right.
Well, that's gonna be a whole other.
And that's going down
Yeah,
a series of routes.
yeah, and they, I would like some education from them on some guidance.
Could you,
But
Who put this right here together?
I got that in the email from the
Who
Sheriff's
drafted it?
Association.
Yeah.
I got that in the email from the Sheriff's Association, and it's passed the board.
Corey, could you put this, maybe a little bit in more layman's terms, exactly, like, if we pass this resolution, what does it mean?
It's adopting this into our policy, correct?
Right. It's to continue to prohibit the use of medicinal marijuana by employees of Spencer County Fiscal Court.
So, right now,
Including those meeting the requirements for the law.
Yeah, so right now, our drug policy is we don't permit marijuana influence.
Right.
And so this is just saying whether, even if you're prescribed marijuana, we're still not gonna tolerate, if you get drug tested, you tested positive for marijuana. Is that correct?
And you have a further classification of employees, like the sheriff's deputies, who aren't gonna be able to carry a weapon if they've got a
Right.
medical marijuana prescription. Because the forms that you sign federally say that you're not addicted to or using marijuana. So I mean, with them in particular, even if you all don't pass it, they're not gonna be able to get a medical marijuana.
I think this is a good resolution. I think, I think it kind of protects us just in case somebody is, whatever happens, right? If they're abusing a prescription or something, it gives us a little bit of ground to stand on. It's not changing our drug use policy, it's just saying that it's gonna stay the same whether you have a prescription or not.
And with, paragraph 4 on the third page on page 9 of the packet, employees who consume medicinal cannabis in the workplace, work while under the influence or if drug testing tests positive for medicinal cannabis, they're subject to discipline up to including termination. It does not mean that termination is mandatory, but ultimately,
It could be that.
It's the same thing it says now, right?
Probably pretty much, I mean, we're gonna follow the same protocol we do now.
You know, again, I'm not advocating one way or other, but, it's like, this legislation went into effect and, it gives the ability for people that's got problems to use this as a prescribed medicine, and we're gonna say, as a county, you can't do it.
I
You
can have
can do
a
it, but
prescription
you
for
can't do it
hydrocodone
by
for
your
my
motion.
bum knee, but I can't drive a car.
We can.
It's
I go to
individual
jail for
rights.
being loud, I get pulled over.
So,
Go ahead, Dan.
so they're talking about, well, it'll stay in your system, or whatever. Well, alcohol stays in your system for a long time, especially if you're an alcoholic. Then you're constantly running a blood alcohol. So, but there's a lot of functioning alcoholics out there that have jobs and work all the time.
Well, I mean, it's
so-
just like I said, at the start there at the beginning of it, you go home at night and you wanna have your 4 or 5 beers at home, that's fine. You wanna drink 30 of them, and then go to work the next day, you're gonna come to work impaired.
I think that this resolution puts the burden on the employee of how responsible they're gonna be.
But this is it, the use of medicinal marijuana without a prescription or is prohibited. So
I kinda have a feeling.
it's not like going home and having 5 beers, you're not,
What that resolution is,
Yeah,
everybody's
you
gonna
do
approve
that.
like Kentucky Social
this
Security.
is like prohibiting somebody that's got a legal prescription to do it.
I want to make a motion that we adopt the resolution regarding the use of marijuana with or without a prescription.
Second.
If I get a second, I'll speak to it.
Second.
All right. Motion by myself, seconded by Mike. I appreciate all the points of view that have been given here today. And by Corey pointing out, basically if someone does get in an accident, heaven forbid, and it points out that they were under prescription, we then will make a decision as a court on how to act. It's not a guarantee that they're going to be fired. And I think since this is something new, that it's our job to look out for yes, we do look out for our employees. And that also means we're looking out for the employees that we might save from getting injured by someone being impaired. But, so, well, I want the employees to know that, we do care about them, and we care about the folks that they work beside. And also, by having this, things are gonna change a year from now. There'll be court cases a year from now that this was challenged this way, it was challenged that way. But looking out for the best interest of Spencer County and Spencer County Fiscal Court, I think this is a step in the proper direction at this moment.
Well, and just to answer the questions that there's put there, on the resolution, the very first line, it said, whereas Spencer County Fiscal Court presently has a drug and alcohol-free workplace policy. So, that's basically all this is covered, and then we got the alcohol policies that are page 4,
So, section 5 of, chapter 7 of personnel policy, we want to make sure it's.
Andrew, was this adopted by the Sheriff's Association?
They pushed it out there, they're recommending it.
Okay.
Yeah, chapter 7 of personnel policy, go down to section 5, to Zach's question about alcohol. Prohibited activities include, involving use of alcohol listed below. Spencer County Fiscal Court reserves the right to define and interpret prohibited activities that specifically include but may not be limited to performance of or being immediately available to perform work duties while having an alcohol concentration greater than 0.02. So that's a quarter of the presumptive limit, although you can be impaired below 0.08, so I don't get on that soapbox. consumption of alcohol or products containing alcohol during performance of or being immediately available to perform work responsibilities, performance of or being immediately available to perform those responsibilities designated as safety sensitive within 4 hours after using alcohol. And that continues on for 7 more paragraphs.
More to the point, we do have what alcohol policy in place that states that you cannot be drinking on the job, you can't be drinking at a certain time period before you come to work. It's the same thing as what we're doing out here. with
Right,
marijuana.
and that's what I was getting ready to say, you know, right now, alcohol, you can have it, but you can't be at work drunk. So this here is posing it to where, like, yeah, marijuana, you can have it, but you can't be at work high.
That's pretty
And
much
I think
all
that
it's
makes
saying.
things a fair plan. You can be prescribed hydrocodone, but you can't be out there operating a salt plow hiring a kite, you know,
So if somebody wrecks a truck, and they test positive for marijuana,
we'll be no different.
how are you gonna determine whether they were high when they wrecked the
On that
vehicle or
though,
not?
Well, you go off whatever the drug test results would be tendered to us, and then us as a fiscal court would make a decision based off our current drug policy, do we want to give them time off, do we want, you know. if
What are
it's-
those numbers, do you guys know, say I was high yesterday, I get a wreck on the way home, I'm gonna test positive for marijuana, correct?
But it's got a certain amount, it's not a, it's not,
We look at nanograms and like,
what they measure in.
it's not a positive or
So
a
you
negative.
guys would be able to determine if you got those numbers back, whether I should be charged with a DUI when I got on that
That's a
wreck?
they're gonna
Yes.
charge you with the
Yeah,
DUI,
they'll
and
charge
then
you.
we're gonna get the blood results.
And you're gonna decide that?
and whether we're
I think
gonna
what we
use
would
it.
do-
It's also
How we're
dependent
gonna
upon
process
what our
it.
experts are.
I think what we
Well, I'm not
would do,
saying putting it on
But
you
yeah,
two,
but
in
yeah,
general,
I know, but usually within a certain nanogram threshold, there's not a per se for the nanograms for marijuana just yet. That day I anticipate will probably come in the next few years.
Yeah, don't say .08.
I think we would meet as a court, probably, and then we would rely on Corey and Cheryl's expertise. You know, this is what the nanograms was, and your all's experience. Do you all, in the court system, do you find this to be generally, you know, what they would determine to be under the
Did they have a
influence or not?
prescription or not?
Do they have a prescription or not?
Yes, the way this reads right here, the use of medicinal marijuana with a prescription is prohibited. That means if I got a prescription, I can't use it. It didn't say work-related or anything. It said it's prohibited.
Read it,
That's my problem.
read it.
Number two.
Number 2 on page.
Number 2 on page 699, or 69, whatever it is. The use of medicinal marijuana with a prescription is prohibited.
So what is it, what
Well,
does
we're
our
saying
policy
state
say
law
about
is
alcohol? I mean, it
Ooh.
doesn't say you can't use it. How does it say you can't use it in the workplace?
I'd say as a county employee, you
Right, you
reserve
can't
the right to
come to
work
work
whatever
impaired.
you want. You're an employer.
So for alcohol, referring back to that, Dan, performance of or being immediately available to perform work duties while having an alcohol concentration greater than 0.02.
Okay, so I would be more willing to say that we need to have some wording like that, not
More
just
word-
that
more
it
wording
is
than just say
prohibited, because
prohibited.
then you're saying, anybody who works for the county, no matter, you know, if you're having seizures, or you got PTSD, or you have glaucoma, or any of these other diseases that are covered, you can't use it. Even though it's gonna be the best drug for you, you can't use it.
That's what it said.
What's it take, how long would it take to get out of the system, 12 hours to meet? I mean,
No,
it'll
it's
show
like,
up. I mean,
it's like months.
It depends on your fat content, I mean,
I'm gonna talk about, what it- I mean, if you're high, if I'm stone cold high right here, right now, I've abused my medical prescription and I come to work. I mean, that's pretty obvious. Well, but if you use it correctly according to whatever the doctor prescribed you to, say I consume a gummy at 4 o'clock, and then I go to work at 8 o'clock the next morning. I mean, is there a time frame we can put into this?
Well, I think Corey and Cheryl would agree that there's prescriptions every day that if you take it as prescribed, you're receiving that medication at the proper prescribed therapeutic level, but you're still not authorized to drive.
Well, that's where that's gotta be at too. I mean, that's doctor.
You know, almost any prescription we take, regardless of when we take it, it's gonna be in our system for 12 hours anyway. You know, an aspirin or oxycodone, anything, or blood pressure medicine, that's how it's made to be. You know, it stays in our, it's not just in our system when we take it for the next hour, it lasts all day.
Are you gonna let your employees drive out of the county and potentially into Indiana? Because if they go into Indiana with it in their system and you've got them in a county vehicle and they've got marijuana in their system, it's illegal there.
You know, it's the wording of this.
Well, I'm gonna say, from a different spin on it, you know, us as employers, you know, we have the right to make whatever drug rules that we want for our employees. And CAECO insures us. Do you think CAECO is gonna be smiling when they say, well, the one that says that, we're gonna strike out number 2 so you can work here and be on marijuana? Do you
I don't
think,
think
if you're
that's for
CAECO,
anybody
you're
to
looking at it?
decide. That's for CAECO to answer the question, not me or you or.
Well, I'm just saying, I think it's a pretty safe assumption.
Can I add something?
Yes.
Corey can maybe answer this, but for us to get federal funding, we have to be a drug-free workplace. Which means if we get any money from Homeland Security, Medicare, Medicaid, DHS, HHS, DOT, any of this stuff, we have to comply with the drug-free workplace laws
Okay,
to get federal money.
because it's still against federal law.
Right.
So what
Just
is,
pointing it out.
so what is drug? What is drug-free? Does that mean prescription drug-free?
Yes.
Well, federally, marijuana is still recreational
But
drug.
none
It's
of your
illegal.
employees
But
can
federally-
have a prescription.
No, but federally, marijuana is still illegal.
Yeah, federally, it's still
You go up
illegal.
across Indiana,
So if we start around,
I don't
we
know if
are
they're gonna
putting
ask you to
at
see
risk
it.
our federal funding if we get it. I'm just throwing it out there.
No, but somebody wants
That's all that.
They're already talking about looking at gun forms for people.
I've heard a lot about that.
And we get a lot of Medicare.
I think a lot of
Medicaid
people
money.
don't realize,
I'm just
if you get a
gonna point
medical
that out.
marijuana prescription,
You can't buy a gun.
you
without
can't
one.
buy a gun, and there is a question about whether you can lawfully possess the gun you already have.
Yeah, that ain't for nothing for us to decide, but.
I think
But I'm
we-
just saying,
I
I
think we
mean,
should
Well,
maintain all our
and
drug
currently-
workplace drugs.
Right, and currently in the personnel policy, and again, I'm not advocating one way or the other, so you all decide, but currently there's the 11-panel urine test, where there is a test, and covers amphetamines, cannabinoids/THC, cocaine, opiates, PCP, benzodiazepines,
benzos.
propoxyphene,
Are you reading all the pro se?
methaqualone, methadone, barbiturate, and synthetic narcotics. So there's currently that 11-panel test, and probably.
April of District 182.
You know, I think this
You have to read it for every
citizens'
employee.
rights. Citizens' rights, you know, I mean, the law says you can do it, but then we're gonna say, no, you can't do it. You know, we're denying citizens in this county, the right to do that, have a prescription for it.
How
Are
many
we
bills
gonna
do
go
you
on
think's gonna
board
be
and
done
say,
the same way?
okay, you
How many
can't have a prescription for
I think a lot
oxycodone,
of
you
them
can't have a
A lot
prescription
of
for
them
this. We shouldn't
It's a
be
liability.
in that
We're
position.
not telling them they can't have a prescription, we're just saying
Yeah,
they
it
can't,
does.
they can't have marijuana in the system at work.
It says it is prohibited.
Which is perfect.
Look at it,
What,
Mike, it says it's prohibited.
How does this resolution read? If it's number 2 on page
We're not
99,
gonna
struck out?
come out
Don't it still read pretty good?
guns, just don't.
I mean, don't it still say enough?
On federal
I think you're taking the teeth out of it.
Well, no, I mean, it says many places that you can't have it.
I agree. That's what, that's
if you
my
get rid
point.
of 2, you've got
You gotta get
it,
rid
the
of
whole
3 at that point.
resolution, yeah. Why even have it if you're not gonna have the prohibition?
Well, that's what I'm saying, I mean, you're taking pretty much the meat out of it.
Well, I
But,
mean, look,
I mean, number 2 says,
I think without this, we already have the drug,
We already have this in place. We don't have to
Says
have
if you're
number 2 in there.
smoking marijuana
saying
or consuming it on the job,
Yeah.
you can't do that. It already says that.
It's already there.
We already got it in our policy. That's my,
So what, you gonna go back and we'll change the pre-existing policies?
we're not change anything. We just strike number 2 out totally.
I don't agree.
We don't have to pass nothing, but.
well, I mean,
Oh,
number
no
two,
problem.
number 2 is basically saying, I mean, if you want to do anything, you use some marijuana or medical marijuana with or without prescription for duty at the workplace, while we're working. you
It
get
always-
that.
Doesn't
We're
it,
just
it already
reaching
says
out
it at
to
the workplace, though, doesn't it?
Sheriff's Association provided it.
Does Logan County adopt?
Logan County is where we, I'm a president of the County Attorney Association, he's from Logan County, so.
So he's in on this too?
It's unadopted there.
So the president of the County Attorney Association is in on this
Well,
verbiage,
his county is, yes.
and the Kentucky Sheriff's Association is in on this verbiage. and us and a bunch of excavators and retired firemen and farmers are thinking that we know more than them.
Yeah.
That don't make any sense to me, and I think if you vote to change this, it's ridiculous.
Well, you should think about that when other people come in here and recommend stuff that know a lot more than you do. Just because you're against it, you ain't gonna try to throw that card at all
Well,
up.
no, I'm just saying, I mean, none of us here, myself included, has the experience to argue this.
Well,
So why are you arguing?
I ain't gonna argue it with keep it as is.
question,
Okay.
y'all good with question?
Already called the roll.
Madam Clerk, if you would, call the roll, please. Everybody know what we're voting on?
Yeah,
All
explain,
right,
Yes.
explain.
explain what we're voting on?
Yes.
We're voting on passing this resolution as presented.
Okay.
That's
Yes,
what's on the
pass
floor.
it, no, it's not pass it.
A yes, that you agree to pass it, no is you don't want it passed. All right, thank you.
Squire Eldridge,
No.
Judge Travis,
Yes.
Squire Travis,
No.
Squire Cotton,
Yes.
Squire Stump,
Yes.
Squire Ferris.
Gonna say, due to the federal requirements, I'm gonna say yes.
All right, it passes 4-2. Yes, is that correct? All right, thank you. Good discussion, guys. Oh, okay. Number 3, okay. Community park. If you look on page 100, I'm guessing you all are familiar. I get the best page would be like, if you skim through 100, go to 102. We were approached, and I've talked to James Allen Tipton, and I've sent a letter to James Allen, and it's included here. And the city of Taylorsville, the mayor, I will say the mayor, myself, Mr. Rucker from the school system, and just so happened the chief of police of the city of Taylorsville and an officer came in, and we had a good lengthy discussion. And I've talked to Representative Tipton about it, and the idea is that maybe he can get us some state funding to help build a park down in the old ball field. That will include, if you look on page 102, it'll have a path around it, parking lot addition, it'll have a bathroom facility, pickleball courts, basketball courts. Now, it says pavilion, but don't let that scare you away from our other pavilion. And also a stage, maybe some kind of small theater. I picture a building that has the bathrooms, a place to cool, and maybe has some room for stuff you would do in a pavilion or require a stage for. An ADA compliant playground, come up with about $2 million, and this is on the high side. I'm not gonna say generous, that's not the best word, but on the high side, so consider it. But Representative Tipton asked me to get some numbers for him, and basically this is a starting point on doing that. The city of Taylorsville, I think, is meeting tomorrow night, considering something similar, that basically it's just giving a thumbs up. There's a resolution there on page 104. It's giving a thumbs up for us all to work together. And it does say that we would be, if you read down through there, we would be using our funds. They would be using their funds, and we'd build it on school property. But it also says that we will be seeking out state, other resources. I was trying to look for exactly what it is. Maybe it's on the next page. It's right here on 104 somewhere. Yeah, here you go, on number 3. Additional funding will be sought through grants, state and federal assistance, and private partnerships. We also have people in the community that's interested in this happening, and I know we've talked about it, but I'm trying to kind of bring it to a head. And also with the Representative Tipton's help, if we could get some funding through Frankfurt to make this happen, then it'd be all the better.
So potential for us going in the hole on this?
Nothing if we don't want to.
No, I mean,
Who's gonna provide security and maintenance?
Well, it'll be in the city of Taylorsville, it'll be on the school's property. We would probably, the three of us would need to have an agreement together. Now, you all know we do already have a committee, and I think Mike and Dan is our members. I believe Dan Burke and Diana Hilbert from the city, and I'm not sure who the board members were.
well, I guess I'm saying, is this all supposedly gonna be grant funded through all the entities, or is each entity expected to put up some of their own funds?
No, right now, right now, the ask is not that we're gonna be expected to cough up money for this.
And right now, we're not.
Not.
And these, like, this is like a, this $2 million thing here and all these things are just, okay, if we could get everything we wanted, this is what it would look like. So, I mean,
Shoot for the stars.
yeah,
And I guess they're putting us and the school and the city together with the hopes of all three parties are on board, we can get a grant big enough to cover it all.
Absolutely, yes. Yeah, that's why I wanted to present it. So,
I can't be against free.
you know, now, I'm not, but, you know, as we go along, you know, I don't know how to play out. But, you know, let's say it plays out and you need to make an investment, a little investment that's matched with something else. And I don't know that that's how it'll be. I mean, it
I
could,
hope everyone will be for it.
yes, it could come like the sanitation district money came. And, you know, one day there, we'd have $10,050,000 to get in the sewer business. And now we are. Hopefully, that might be how it would be, that Representative Tipton could get something put in Frankfurt, and we get, you know, we see on TV, they do it all the time in every county, every city across the state, it seems like. You know, the city of Louisville gets $50 million to do something down at the waterfront.
As it stands right now, ain't no harm gonna found moving forward, so.
That's kind of, you know, what I had in mind, and that's how I'm presenting it to you all, that we're not obligated.
Do we need to vote on
Yes, the only obligation is that we will be working together with the city and the school to try to get funding to possibly get this done.
I'll make a motion. Second.
All right, have a motion by Mike, seconded by Zach, basically to approve the resolution that says the Spencer County Fiscal Court, the Board of Education, and the City of Taylorsville agreeing to work together to build a new community park in downtown Taylorsville. That's the resolution. Any discussion? All right, hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion passes. Thank you all. Next is the financial report and the invoices, bills, and transfers.
What about the squeezing land donation?
We're going to go in executive session,
Okay, got it.
so.
Motion to approve the invoices and transfers?
All right, we need to make a motion to approve the financial report first.
No, this is information.
Yeah.
And a second to that.
All right, we have a motion by Jim, seconded by Zach to approve the invoices, bills, and transfers.
The jail bills look pretty high.
Any discussion or questions?
The what?
Jail deal?
Yeah, I see the animal control bills are still pretty hefty.
Yeah, we're working on those.
I ain't filtered through it yet, is there a bunch of,
Not as bad as
animal
it was.
medical?
Not as bad as maybe last time, yeah.
But it's still,
What is it then? I ain't got there yet. There it is.
it was 1,000 something, or it was, can't remember.
So we're working on it.
did, they figure out whether that house is in the Shelby County or is in Spencer?
Andrew and I rode out there and looked at it. It's in our county.
Not hard.
I mean, it's, yeah. Yeah,
Just
you
maybe.
You could,
We
I
can
don't know
push
if
it
you can
a little
play
bit.
volleyball in the yard and cross the county line tonight, but it's close.
You know, we had $1,844 for medical for animals, and there's another one on back for $99 also. So, you know, we're spending $2,000 this month, last month it was $4,000 last meeting.
5 or 6, I mean, it was a lot.
But, you know, I think we need to talk with our animal control director and advise her on what she needs to do and not to do.
So we still spent
We have-
over $6,000 in a month.
No, not this month, this is
No,
2,000.
this month's 2,000.
No, this meeting was 4,000 last one.
Well, this month.
That was last month.
Oh, okay, all right, they'll put it on the end of
This
this.
was November, that was October.
Okay, I got you.
But anyway, the kitten thing is, I think, is what's causing the most of this, and we never had that before.
Well-
Now,
On a good note, when I asked her the other day, we didn't have any kittens. We were out of cats.
it's just a matter of time.
I mean, we're picking like all these cats up like in the city,
The
right?
other day, we were out of cats.
We're gonna have to address that in the new year.
I mean, that's gonna be the elephant in the room moving forward, is like, you know, we're gonna have to talk about that.
And the Humane Society also, get them involved more.
I got just one question, I seen it when I was looking through it earlier. The university rules position for 1,400, what's that?
That's that doctor
It's our position that has,
that prescribes some of the medications that they have.
We had that, regulation, we have a position that the
I
paramedic.
figured it was something to do with you all, but.
Yeah, he has to sign off on stuff.
4,000% higher than what the old one used to be.
So, all right, any other questions on the invoices, bills, and transfers? All right, hearing none, all those in favor of accepting them, say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion passes. I'll entertain I'll make a motion that we adjourn from open session into executive session as per KRS 6118B about future acquisition and sale of real estate by a public agency. That's the motion. All right, motion by myself, second by Mike, to go into executive session. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion passes. Or you just want me to, or you want everybody to go?
Well, yes, you should.
So,
I may as well get it in here.
Smell good.
Well, thank you. It's called clean.
Or they can go. Y'all go if you like.